welcome.
What up?
To Three Dudes Season 4.
Wow.
Do you believe it?
I genuinely don't.
Coming to you live and direct from sunny Dave's basement in Youngstown, Ohio. The Three Dude Cast in its fourth year, officially out of toddlerhood
Yeah, right.
and into early childhood.
Yes.
EC.
I don't think it'll ever progress beyond
Early childhood. We'll get to like age 7.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Probably something like that.
It'll just be more farts, more burps.
We got lots of poops lined up.
Lots of poops. We got lots
Just
of
sliding out, just fucking
I got things planned.
flopping all over the
I got
goddamn
plans.
place. Plans, you say?
Yeah.
plans, you say.
Actually, need a new notebook.
Yeah, you do. I'm starting this brand new book here, so.
Season 4. What hopes do we have for our baby season 4?
We didn't really. The only promise that we made is that I was going to pound a beer before every podcast.
Oh.
So let's
wanna
do that. Hold on.
Ben, please fill the dead air as we pound a beer. This is not going to happen every episode. Yeah.
Well, all right. So, season 4 of the Three Dudes Cast is brought to you as always by our
Oh, God.
our
I don't have the same poundability I used to.
debatable benefactor,
Done.
Roger Sick Bastard.
Woo. Woo.
The man who once insulted me for my choice of socks. The man who once threatened to spit directly into my mouth for saying Pepsi was okay when I was asked at Denny's.
Oh, hey, speaking of Denny's.
Oh, God.
I didn't even know Austintown Denny's is closed.
What?
I drove by there the other day in the middle of the day.
I was just there.
Yeah, I drove by in the middle of the day. Nothing. The place is closed. It wasn't a holiday. There was no reason for it.
shit.
There was no one there.
Maybe it was. Maybe there was like a termite thing. I don't know. Maybe they needed like a. Maybe they were exterminating or something.
There's a termite. There's a termite there exterminating.
There's a big termite behind the counter, and he refuses to leave.
So they closed the store because what else are you going to do?
You can't argue with him. He's a termite.
Dave, this is really good beer.
Thank you.
Termite.
It's almost a shame to pound it.
I know.
As fast as I can.
You ever hear the one about the termite who walks into a bar?
No.
And he says, "Hey, is the bartender here?"
Yada, da, da, da.
Yeah, actually, drinking that beer really fast is probably like it feels bad.
It feels bad. It's not. It's too good of a beer to pound, but I'm gonna get through this.
It's also a little too carbonated, so you just feel it like taking up space in your belly.
Yeah, I already let out the first gross burp of season 4.
Yay!
Morty. Oh, Morty.
Off to a great start, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
New year, same old us.
New year, new us? No,
Yeah.
no, it's not the new us.
No. Same as it ever was.
Same as it ever was.
Same as it
And
ever
you may
was.
find yourself sitting in Dave's basement with a cold drink. And you may find
You
yourself.
definitely will.
You will. You will. You'll find yourself doing that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
At least every other Tuesday. Maybe. So anyway,
Why am I just sweating?
I don't know, because I don't know. We're all out of shape, man.
Stage fright, man.
Oh yeah, right.
Just fuck
You have-
over it.
You have ghosts in your brain.
Just ghosts.
They're out of shape ghosts that are.
What the hell are you talking about?
I don't know. Hey,
Parasites and mutants in my brain.
oh god. That was the only promise that we made that we were going to change. Just a pound of beer right before the podcast, and lo and behold, here we are.
It is odd to realize that. Gosh, I mean, so considering that this is we started this podcast before Trump was president.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it is crazy. It's crazy.
Is it crazy? I think it's kind of crazy.
You know what? I meant to say something because I was going back through and listening to old episodes.
Yeah.
And I feel like we owe John McCain an apology.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we do, because there was
We shit talk John.
so like
I mean,
it was
right.
So for this direct instance, we owe John McCain, who's not alive to hear this apology.
Okay.
But at the time he was. It was when McConnell sent the vote to the Senate floor.
That's right.
To overturn Obamacare, right? And John McCain left his sickbed basically to go vote.
Yeah.
And we all kind of assumed that he was going to vote to get rid of Obamacare.
Right.
And we were all like, yeah, so now John McCain is going to fucking show up just to, push this thing through because due to the Republican Party.
Right.
He didn't do that.
Right.
Right.
So
we never revisited it.
We never revisited it. John McCain left his sickbed to stand up on the Senate floor, get in Mitch McConnell's face and say no.
Yeah.
With a thumbs down, and then like mic dropped and walked away.
Yeah.
So you got to give it to John McCain as maybe one of the last bastions of Republican politicians who actually really cared about the country.
It's odd because a bunch of those old school dudes dropped in the last few years,
yeah, right.
And I can only think of a few, I guess.
Kasich is like the last one that I can think of that's still.
Yeah.
And I don't like John Kasich, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel unsafe if John Kasich was in charge of the country.
Right.
John Kasich is,
Sure.
And like I actually genuinely think he cares about public service and
I think you're right.
And taking care of people. But McCain, I would loop into that category as well.
It's weird. I was thinking the other day of like how cruel were we to Mitt Romney? We had no idea how bad it could get.
Right.
Yeah, but that's not to say Mitt Romney didn't deserve it.
Yeah, Mitt Romney was kind of a.
I didn't want him to be my president, but I'd throw him up there in a heartbeat now. Like the norms have bent so hard. Sometimes I wonder if this is what Trump's really after. Is just like fuck up the playing field, totally pick up the board and throw all the pieces off of it. So that when a Republican rolls around that isn't Trump, it's like, oh, guy makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, right. Donald Trump once said of himself, "I am the storm."
Yeah.
So that's probably not that far
Which
off.
he totally didn't get from like one of those fucking Facebook posts that your aunt shares.
Yeah, somebody asked him
Something with the
devil whispered in my ear and said, "You're not strong enough to withstand the storm." That's an original quote from me, attributed to me by me.
something with the Tasmanian devil underneath it.
Yeah. No, someone asked him during the 2016 campaign, how does, is it ever hard, with the media storm following you? And he said, "I am the storm."
He's right.
Which is fucking scary.
It is ominous, but he was absolutely right.
Super villainy. But no, I wanted to like give that quick aside to John McCain because I don't think we've ever addressed it on the show.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And I'm going to say that's why we're fucked. We never went back. Of all the things that we promised to go back to sometime and revisit, that was one that I always meant to give John McCain his due because he, to his great credit, as a politician and a man, stood up for something that he believed in at the worst time of his life.
Yeah, at the absolute most vulnerable.
Yeah.
This might mark the first time we've apologized to like an individual people rather than a nation or ethnic group.
That's probably
That's right. The Three Dudes apology tour gets small.
Yes. Shushmo. Yes, with apologies to John McCain, who is dead now and can't.
I sort of feel like we should listen to season 1 again.
I'm nervous.
Me too.
I'm nervous.
I'm nervous about what we might have said or
it's
did.
so infant,
Yeah.
Not that this is any less juvenile, but like we just didn't know what we were doing as much as we did now. We had bad audio and
Yeah. It sounds poor, and we assumed no one would ever listen except us.
yeah. And then even like the early parts of season 2 when we were getting the sound right. And,
Yeah.
Just kind of like falling into our own falling in my skin.
Nope.
No. But no, I say that's why I think we're fucked is because we didn't go back and apologize to John McCain. So
And there's probably more things like that.
yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that we need to go back and
Yeah.
maybe make an apology for. The apology tour continues.
Yeah, right.
Ladies and gentlemen. Now that I pounded this beer that I did not need to pound.
I feel like I'm going to pound a second beer in a minute here.
I kind of think if you get up and get one, I wouldn't say no to have another one.
Maybe we'll wait till our segment break
we'll
here.
do that. But yeah, so that's we're just going to start it off there. I think that's why we're fucked is we got to maybe go back and make some apologies to some people that we gave an unfair shake to at the time.
It does feel... I don't know. It would not be an exaggeration to say we run our fucking mouths on this show.
I kind of feel like most of the time our shakes are pretty fair.
Yeah, I agree.
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part.
I mean, like, I don't find ever that I go back and I find something completely indefensible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, usually it's like, I didn't have all the information or, I don't know.
Right.
It was a little bit harsh, but, for comedy's sake or something.
Yeah, we've never said like, oh, that fucking, I'm so tired of seeing that Betty White in memes. Just want to kick her right in the cooter. Yeah. We've never gone so far as to
I want
like
to stuff my boot toe right up in Betty White's scooter. I want to drop on my steel-toed boots, wind up real big like, and launch my toe up into Betty White's scooter.
Cunt punch Betty White into an early grave.
Oh my God! What a horrible thought. A nation waits to see what happens to Betty White, who is in surgery today, having a boot removed from her.
Can you imagine if Tucker Carlson had to say that?
I know, right?
A nation waits patiently as we find out if Betty White could get that boot out of her pussy.
Said White. Ow.
Said White, is that all you got, you fucking pansy?
Yeah, right. That's probably more accurate.
Yeah, I think you're actually right about that. Betty White's a toughie.
She is a toughie. Hey, anyway, we're building up a backlog for this show. It's also worth noting before we keep going. The best of, at the time that we're recording this podcast, the best of would have just went up last night.
Yeah, right.
So you'll be listening to that, and then when this podcast goes up,
You'll be listening to this podcast.
you'll be listening to this.
Right.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? So we're whatever.
By the time you hear this, it's a week old, and we've already forgotten what we talked about.
Correct. Yeah. So we're just trying to build up a backlog here.
Do you remember Mr. Show had a sketch about the pre-taped call-in show?
I don't.
It's so fucking funny. So it's like David Cross as the host of a call-in show and being like, okay, this is the pre-taped call-in show. So again, this week we're talking about dogs. If you want to talk about whatever the other topic is, that's last week's topic. So don't call about that topic. All right, go. And he picks up the phone. And because it's pre-taped, people are calling about the last week's topic. And he's going, no, this week is, no one gets it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's really funny.
Actually, this is where it goes. It develops into a chain of, no, look, and he turns the TV to them to show last week's episode, and in that clip, he's turning the TV to them to show them last week's episode. It just does this over and over.
It's really
again.
funny.
Oh my gosh.
No,
anyway.
it's actually I'm really excited because I started listening to our best of again today.
Yeah.
And I still haven't heard the honorable mention segment that you spent all week editing to.
It's honestly, it's like 2 minutes long.
It doesn't matter.
This stuff takes so
But it takes so
long.
much time.
It really does.
So we addressed it. I think you could tell by the end of that episode.
We were weary and drunk.
We were wiped, drunk, and ready for it to be done. So
No, like the last 5 minutes was just me being like, all right, we're really done now. And then,
then we were done.
We're not.
yeah, we just kept going.
We're just like
Kept going.
punch drunk and real drunk.
And real drunk, right?
That's show business.
apparently.
What joke did I make? I made some stupid joke at the end of the episode about.
At the very end?
Yeah, something about. Fuck, I can't remember.
I don't know.
It involves
Sounds great.
Smegma, if I remember correctly. Smeglugatus, that was it.
Smeglugatus. Oh my God.
It was so stupid.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, that's what
Meg Ryan.
Smeg Ryan.
I was referring to the middle smegment.
The middle segment, right?
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
I did I just started what if it was like a dirty Greg Louganis just out of nowhere because I was drunk? Because that's what happens when you record this podcast longer than we normally do.
God.
We just drink more,
Right.
And I didn't start it with any preamble. I just went into what if it was like a dirty Greg Louganis, and then I stopped there.
That's what happens when you take 4 hours producing something.
Yeah, right. Stupid. So anyway, I already said I feel like we're fucked because we didn't apologize to John McCain.
Yeah.
Dave, why are we fucked this week?
Honestly, I don't know. Come back to me.
Ben,
You got
why are we
something?
fucked this week?
We're fucked this week because I was recently clued in by a friend of ours about a bill in the Vermont State Senate that would ban cell phone use for people under 21 years of age.
Oh, weird.
Introduced by a Democratic senator whose name escapes me. This is Vermont State Senate.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I don't think it's going to pass is
Obvious.
obvious, but also because that's Bernie Sanders' state, and he relies a lot on the young vote and social media and everything. But I don't know. We're fucked because once again, people want their governments to do their parenting for them.
Agreed. Yeah. The thing is, I understand the sentiment behind that because cell phones are kind of like a scourge.
Well, it
just in general.
It specifically brings up safeguarding against radicalizing influences on the internet, which is one of those things that can be averted by talking to your fucking kids.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
And
But
being
the problem is, like, kids don't want to talk to their parents.
Doesn't matter.
They have their own secret life, and you could never get in.
But that's your job as a parent is to like.
But you will
burst
fail
through
at that job.
But if you make the attempt, at some point they should, if you've done a good job, realize it.
Yeah, if you're careful, then they don't hate you, and they will at least tell you some things.
Yeah, the alternative is you just let your son become an incel and worship Elliot Rodgers, and that's not an acceptable alternative.
Or Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, it's not an acceptable alternative. It's not something the government needs to step in on.
No.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't think that's a bill that's designed to pass, though. I think that's a bill that's up there as like a talking point.
Yeah,
Sure.
right.
There might even be all kinds of riders and stuff on there.
Sure. And like there always is. There's always like the bill that they're telling you on the news is not the main point of the bill.
Right, agendas on top of agendas.
Right. It's amazing
Concealing other agendas.
when you actually read what a lot of those bills would do. They'll throw shit in there that has nothing to do with the main point of the bill.
Yeah.
Just to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to slip it past the unsuspecting American people.
Sure.
Yes.
But regardless, the point is this is just the latest in a long list of instances of people wanting the government to do their jobs as parents.
Yeah, right.
And
yeah, nobody wants to deal with the real like that's why you learn about sex in health class is because we all kind of like everyone collectively went like, I'm not talking to my kids about my dick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have some stranger do it.
I'm telling you, like, Trish and I are probably going to have kids.
Yeah.
I want to have that talk because I want to just make it known that it's okay to have sex.
yeah.
It's just like
I feel like you have to do more than that even.
Or even worse, I'm not going to talk to my kids about sex. I'm going to have this monk who's taken a vow of celibacy
Yeah, right.
and yells at us about fire and brimstone every Sunday. Tell my kid about sex.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have this guy who's terrified of his own genitals explain what they're for,
Right.
under penalty of like death and hellfire that you
right.
should touch. That's the other thing. You got to talk to kids way sooner than the point at which they can get each other pregnant and stuff.
Yeah, right.
You got to talk to them way sooner to the point where it's like, hey, it's all right to touch your junk, but just like do it in private and make sure that we don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, and like don't do it in public.
Yeah,
Like,
just like you can do all that stuff, but just make it a private thing. I don't want to know about it.
right.
Yeah.
Kids need to hear that
Absolutely.
message.
Right.
Close your door, like put the TV on.
Right.
So like we
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like super important to, address that shit.
And if I'm being real, maybe take a little puff before you go at
a
it.
little grass,
Take my word for it, son.
Yeah,
You're welcome for the 3 hours of time traveling into your own genitals you're gonna do.
I feel like I would be very good at
Here's your weed. Here's your Kleenex. You're welcome.
Here's a condom. I feel like I'd be
I
very
love you,
good
son.
at that.
Have fun. I'll be right out here if you need anything.
Just listening with a cup to the door.
Yeah, that's my boy. Whoa. Takes after his old man.
It's so stupid. No, but like, I feel like I'd be good at that. Like, just be like, hey, kid, it's okay to,
Yeah.
touch your genitals.
How many lives are ruined by like?
Here's the
being
JC
told that-
Penney catalog. You make do, you little shit.
You'll notice the bras section 3/4 of the way to the back. I put a little bookmark in it for you.
I've circled some of my personal favorites.
But don't think about me, son. Just think about the brassieres.
Years. Oh God.
Weird. Sorry.
The
point is being a dad is
Nat
easy.
Geo if you're into that kind of thing.
He's got jungle fever.
Yeah, being a dad's easy. You just hand them magazines and let them do whatever they need.
They don't have to work. That's the other thing.
Then you can fuck off and watch hockey.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Dave, why are we fucked?
I don't know. I feel bad because I had like a very shitty first week of the year.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. I feel a lot better now. But
Why
first couple of weeks?
Let's dive into this. Why did you have a shitty first week?
It started with we haven't talked about it.
The New Year's
Actually,
party.
yeah, the New Year's party. We didn't really talk about it. I mean,
You were the only one who was upset about the New Year's party.
Yeah, as per usual.
As per usual.
Okay,
Yes.
but I don't know how much you realize happened that night, or what you saw me do, because I lost my mind that night.
I don't know about that. You just-
At one point, I was upstairs. It had I don't remember. I have to piece together details of this.
Okay.
That I was told, but what I believe
That means it was a good party.
yes.
around 2 or 2:30 maybe is when I believe my dad tried to put me to bed because I had the wobbles.
So I wasn't around for that. I was down here. I
That's
think.
Right. Well, you should have been down here when I ran down the stairs in the middle of what I think is a blackout and hid
From your dad.
from my father. I'm 32.
That's all right. That's really funny, actually.
Well, the thing is, it would be funny, except that I ran down the stairs.
Yeah, right.
And I don't remember
Not
doing
safe,
that.
yeah.
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 So that and a number of other things, I guess. Just missing the party that I look forward to so much every year, and
Part of that's my fault because we tapped into the party maker way sooner than we usually do.
well, no. But the other thing is, I was holding a big fat stein of really high ABV beer.
Yeah, right.
And I felt a need to drink it fast because when it's such a big stein, you feel like you're not even drinking it.
Yeah,
and I'm
right.
like, am I
you don't
falling
want it to
behind
get
the party?
warm.
You were not falling behind at the party. We were all pretty.
Yeah.
all pretty toasted.
We did good.
Yeah, we did good.
But I didn't realize that at the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you were. I remember at one point you sat down over here with us, and you were pretty well.
yeah,
Look, I could just tell by the look on your face, you were just kind of like,
yeah.
"Hey guys," you know.
Well, the thing is, I didn't. All this kind of happened. There's an additional factor, which is that I started taking my antidepressant more regularly again. Because for a while there, I just wasn't doing it as much as I should.
I wondered that because I could tell that something was different.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
right. A weird character to my personality emerges when the amount of that medication is increasing in my body.
Yeah.
I think it's when there's a surplus and it's I haven't caught up to it or adjusted to it.
Yeah.
So the last time was I did something similar in Defiance, Ohio.
Yeah, at a
And,
party,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was just awful. And it happened again New Year's.
Yeah.
And so that's been following me around for a couple of weeks.
But
a
I mean,
funk.
if you think you everybody's everybody's party,
it really felt like it. For
you
some reason.
did not.
No,
you
you
did
did
not.
not.
You. I feel like you say that every time we have a big party, and you did not. You did not.
Yeah, you're right.
Last year's New Year's party is the only exception I can think of where you were satisfied by the end of
yeah,
the
right.
next day. When
Yeah,
we came through.
last year I was I survived.
Good to go. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a chance for a redo on St. Patty's.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, that's why I felt fucked.
Yeah.
But I'm rebounding now.
Good.
Things are good. It's been a better couple of days. I don't know. It actually takes some time to let some stuff go, I think. I just I get very in my head about a lot of things.
You don't say. I'd never noticed that about you.
I know, right? I know it's super obvious, but I feel better about it.
Yeah.
I don't feel so fucked.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
I'm looking forward to the next one.
I like that you're rocking that sled gang shirt.
yeah, right.
Nice.
I wore this yesterday.
You
too.
did. I remember.
Yeah.
Sled
So,
gang.
Yeah. I didn't wear this for a long time because it was in a laundry hamper and I didn't realize it was out of circulation.
Yeah.
And I found it the other day and I'm like, this is going back in circulation.
My wife was so happy when we actually got that shirt in.
yeah. This shirt fucking rules.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I love wearing it in public.
Yeah, right. Sled gang.
Because it's not such a strange shirt. It's not vulgar and I
No.
don't feel bad wearing it, but it's confusing to
Yeah,
people.
people don't. If you don't understand the reference, it's really, really weird.
If you don't know who Dan the Meme
Dan the
Man
Meme
is.
Man, yeah. Eat ass, smoke grass, sled fast.
Sled fast, yeah.
I follow him on Snapchat. And he's really funny on Snapchat.
Is he active right now?
Yeah, he is. He's basically, the thing is, Dan the Meme Man is just like a little rich kid.
Yeah.
And he just, gets to be a douche all the time because, Why not? He's just a little.
That's what the Jackass guys were.
little
Yeah.
stoner rich kid. Yeah, exactly.
They were just guys with too much money and too much free time.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's all of like the old CKY videos. Everything that Bam Margera ever did.
Yeah, right. Phil Margera basically paid for his son to lose his mind.
Yes.
Very publicly.
Yes.
With all of his friends.
To great hilarity.
Yeah.
For their credit.
Anyway, I'm not so fucked today.
Anyway.
Yeah, not so fucked.
Not so fucked.
Hey, buddy, not so
Not
fucked.
so fucked.
Well,
Nobody knows what that is.
we will be back, I suppose, for the next segment, where we'll play As Bad as It Gets. I have a good one this week.
Nice.
And by a good one, I mean a bad one, because this game is bad.
No.
No,
You're always so down on it.
I am. It's not a good game. I feel like it's not a good game.
It's only a game.
It's only a game. Why do you have to be mad? I'm not. I just feel like I'm not. I feel like I'm not good at very much. So it's just like
No. It's fine. It's fine. I feel like I'm bad at everything.
everything. I just don't want anybody to be mad at me. I want everyone here to be okay with me. Is anybody? Are you guys mad at me?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit now.
That was my favorite thing to do to all my friends is be like,
You did that for a long time.
I did, because it always worked, and then it stopped working for a while.
I just need everyone to be okay with
I
me.
would just like stop and like, hey Chris, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know, man. Are you guys aren't mad at me, are you? What? No, I just don't want anybody to be mad.
It's
at me.
really funny because
I'm
everyone
really
gets
sorry.
immediately very serious.
Yeah, like no, you're fine. You're good, man. You're good, man. I just feel like I'm letting everyone down. It's one of the meaner things that I've done. I also used to try and convince Drew of like that horrible things happened to me in my childhood.
that you were like terribly abused.
Yeah, right.
Which shouldn't be funny and actually isn't funny.
I know, but I would just do it anyway. I had Drew convinced that my dad used to burn me with cigarettes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
She like
Oh, Chris Brady.
almost bumped me with one time, and I'm like, oh, I like jump back, and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, it just brings up bad memories.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
That's not funny.
and my dad used to like burn me with us, and we're okay now. We're okay. I would always be like, no, we're fine now. He stopped drinking, so. It's like, Chris Brady, are you serious? And I'm like, it's all right, Drew. Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's really horrible and like a really mean thing to do to
Yes,
someone.
it is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But it was funny to me at the time.
It is.
I had to finally be like, because she was giving me that look like, oh, are you really? Are you like? I had her going, and I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm fucking with you.
Of course not.
Of course not. I love my dad, even if he did.
Which he didn't.
Which he didn't. But if he had,
I wouldn't be talking about it right now.
it would
if
be
he had,
okay now.
So you wouldn't know.
because he's got his 10-year chip, so we're good. Anyway, we'll be back
dark.
with the next segment of the show. Called the next segment of the show.
We'll try to rebound and do something funny.
Yeah, for a change.
All right.
Welcome to the Three Dude Podcast. Hey, yeah.
You can find us at 3dudecast.com.
If you're wondering whether that's spelled with the numeral 3 or the word 3, the answer is yes.
We're so proud of ourselves.
We're so clever. We're such clever boys.
Wow. We've switched hosting to Podbean. You can still find us on iTunes and Google Play. So give us a like.
Yeah, give us a like, give us a listen, give us a review somewhere.
Give us a sandwich.
Give us a high five.
Give us sponsorships.
Please give us a hug.
Give us that money. I said, God damn it, Everett.
God damn it, Everett. We haven't done that in a long
I know.
time.
What a stupid joke.
That was really fun.
It was really fun. It's just stupid. Like really juvenile and dumb. There's no joke there. It's
Why don't
just
you pull every inch of that fruit by the foot out of my
pussy.
And yes, the joke's on the rapper too.
Damn it, Everett. This is a southern trailer park lady.
He left an entire mega pack of now and laters jammed up inside of my
This is a trailer park lady yelling at her boyfriend for shoving candy inside of her.
Thank you.
It's not a joke. It's just a dumb thing that we did. Right in my pussy.
Right up inside of my
So dumb. Fucking stupid. Anyway, we're back.
Yeah.
We're back. How you guys enjoying season 4 so far? Off to a good start.
Not great. Cool. Thanks.
Not great. It's not terrible. So it's time to play that game that nobody's playing.
Yeah, nobody likes it.
Nobody likes it. It's a bad game.
Nobody's ever wanted to play it.
I'm ashamed of it.
You should be.
Frankly, I'm really sad that I even came up with it.
It's very bad.
It's as bad as it gets, ladies and gentlemen.
What are you talking about? It's been the hot new craze in Washington for 3 years.
Yeah, right. Letting things get as bad as they can get.
Yeah.
As bad as it gets is like America's current MO.
Yeah, right.
No.
It's called as bad as it gets because this game is as bad as it gets.
The worst.
It's the worst
ever.
thing we do on this show regularly.
All right.
But no, Dave, you actually had a really good idea for as bad as it gets, and I think I'm going to adopt it.
Let's see how it works.
In lieu of coming up with a new game or going back to the joke of the week,
Yeah.
I think we're going to adopt as bad as it gets and change the formula here. So the idea is going to be to rapid fire off ideas to make something as bad as it can get, rather than develop one long form idea.
So we're just like it's gonna be like a chain of
not
like
even a chain, but just like
he comes up with a prompt. We come up with as many ideas as we
you
can. You know, I don't think anyone particularly wins this.
no, there's no winning. It's just something silly that we
Just
get to do.
Pitch the worst version of something, and he gives us what that thing is.
So
okay.
the topic this week, for as bad as it gets, is you are both restaurant owners. We're all restaurant owners.
We are.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
You
I worked really hard.
You now own a restaurant. The restaurant can be whatever kind of food, whatever kind of style you would like it to be.
Scottish cuisine.
But your job is to put one gimmick into your restaurant that happens like as a staple of the restaurant, and it has to be as bad as it can possibly get.
Okay.
So give me a restaurant and give me one simple gimmick that will entirely change the flow of the restaurant.
Okay.
Give you an example.
Yeah, give us an example.
I'm going to open a Chinese food restaurant with food. The wait staff is entirely made of Japanese people criticizing the food as it gets served to you.
What? So the Japanese are there.
Yes, the Chinese are making the food, and the Japanese wait staff is just tossing it out of the table.
Okay.
Okay.
Weird, but I understand it.
So how about Scottish restaurant, which is bad enough already, but if it's your birthday, they do the song and dance and butcher the pig they use for haggis in front of you.
Scottish restaurant is where I'm hung up. It's just, what horrible place would that even be?
Potted meat and mashed potatoes.
Deep fried sheep testicles.
Okay. Gosh, I hope you guys have more ideas because I'm a little bit struggling on this one.
Grilled peat moss sandwich.
Okay.
Let's see. An Italian restaurant where the starter course is all just you drinking a bottle of wine over your head.
Okay.
Just tipped.
Right. So they put you at a table alone in the corner.
And you have to drink.
You just drink until you're blind.
Yes.
And then they serve you cat food.
Right.
And then you leave.
The end.
All right. Okay. Damn, I feel particularly stupid on this one.
Let's see. Okay.
I'm trying to think of good examples of. All right, here's an idea. So it's like Chuck E. Cheese, right? But when it's your birthday, instead of an animatronic cast of rats singing to you, they just unleash rats. And it's just rats everywhere. It's just rats all over, and you can just sit there and eat pizza.
Bad pizza for $18.
Happy birthday, and then just a wall of rats.
How about a Greek restaurant that is as authentic as it can possibly be, right down to ornate classical depictions on the walls of pederasty.
Appetizing.
Yeah.
Yummy. How about a Vietnamese restaurant where all the food is served to you by Viet Cong? just ramen, like Fa Saigon.
Yeah, right. But you don't see them. They like sneak up.
They sneak up
just
behind
like come
you.
out of the walls.
Right.
That's fun. Okay, how about like a Spanish tapas restaurant, right? But like when they're
Tape ass.
tape ass.
Tape ass.
So when this arrives, when your meal arrives, the waiter gets real close to your ear and goes, "Yeah, what do you think of this? What do you think of this one?"
Just like whispers in your
Yes, I made this special.
I made this for you. What do you think?
What do you want to try?
You want to buy? Do you want to name it?
Just like subtly
Sexualizing everything.
yeah, just
just say when. He's like grinding the pepper mill like right up against your cheek.
like all over his shirtless chest. It's Antonio Banderas.
Yes.
It's just Antonio Banderas.
I would pay money to do that.
Yep. Same.
A donut shop where every donut is served off of a porn star's dick.
like a ring.
Yeah, like a ring toss kind of thing.
Yeah, right. Who's the guy?
I'm thinking Lexington Steel.
Okay.
It's a famed black porn star, Lexington Steel.
All right.
Exotic African cuisine, South African cuisine.
Okay.
The seating is apartheid.
That might be the winner.
Oh yeah, that's really bad. Oh my god, that's funny.
Jesus. There's got to be more to these.
Yeah, I know, right? Who do you think the fartiest people of the world are?
The fartiest people
Yeah,
of
The
the world?
fartiest people?
Yeah.
Probably German.
Yeah, that
Yeah, I
sounds
would
about
say
right.
Germans. Yeah, Germans
Right,
are
so it's like a
definitely-
beer hall, like a German beer hall, and just as they come around and check on you, they also like fart right next to you.
Sure.
They just crop dust the entire room.
So like every German restaurant already, anyway.
Right, exactly. Except this, it's manually enforced here.
Ugh,
You have to.
manually.
Strictly enforced flatulence. There's got to be some kind of like long one word rule in German that describes exactly that.
I'm sure that there is compulsory flatulence.
Yeah,
If
there's got to be
Germans don't have a word for that, I'll be very
an
surprised.
extremely long word that describes compulsory flatulence.
Did I say compulsory? That's not a word.
Yeah, whatever. How about a buffet where one dish on the buffet is just soaked in Ipecac?
Oh, but you have to guess which.
You have to
Yeah.
guess which.
I'm thinking it's the buttermilk biscuits.
You play Russian roulette with your food,
Yes.
essentially.
Weird.
Oh my god.
trying to think.
As we're doing this, I'm coming up with better games that we could be playing than as bad as it gets.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Like what?
Okay, so how well do you know a celebrity?
Oh, okay. That's fun.
Maybe I'll debut that next time.
I don't mind this.
I was just thinking in my head, how well do you know Martin Sheen? And I'll just come up with two weird facts about Martin Sheen, or I'll find one.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Better know Martin Sheen.
I just pick a different celebrity each time. I don't know. I feel like this game sucks. I feel like you guys have smart games that are good and not stupid, and I feel like I'm bad at everything.
No, this game isn't bad.
Isn't it?
No, it's not.
Is it not?
It's just challenging.
It's tough.
It's challenging. I'm trying to think of.
I know, that's what I mean.
My head just keeps going pizza, but it has a mustache.
Pizza, but with a mustache.
Like I'm so stupid. It's like a pizza, but it has a mustache.
Get it?
Like you got a mustache in your pizza.
Get it? It's a pizza mustache.
Don't eat that one. Sorry, I got like no idea.
That's all right. That's all right. You know what?
I feel like I kind of blew my load with apartheid.
I think that
Brand new sentence. Oh wow, that's amazing. Just gotta write that down. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of blew my load with apartheid. I don't know that that's ever been said in human history.
Probably not.
Really nice.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Anyway,
Do we have anything else?
I think we should move on to the main topic.
Okay,
Lest
we
we
can do
get
that.
stuck in a stupidity loop of bad games.
It's like a sausage, but it's got a mustache.
That's fucking stupid.
It's like a big bowl of pudding, but it's got like a mustache.
Get it?
I have one idea.
Oh, God. Okay, so topic of the week.
Yeah.
I don't have one. No.
Okay.
Topic of the week. There's going to come a point where one of us doesn't have a topic. For
Yeah,
the week.
probably.
There's going to come a point where we're just like, I don't have a topic. Let's just have a conversation. It is not this week, however.
Right.
I wanted to start season 4 with something completely new that we haven't done before, which is getting increasingly harder.
Yes, it is.
You wouldn't think after we're on the... Actually, Ben, you made it known to us before we started recording. We're on the 81st episode of regular dude casting. Without
Regular old casting.
best ofs or like sketch compilations
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Yeah. We have only unknowingly repeated a topic one time.
Correct. Correct.
That was we did 2 episodes about bullshit that were
Yes.
not related to each other.
Correct.
right.
Yeah. We also did like 2 episodes about video games like within 4 weeks of each
Well,
other.
yes, but we acknowledge that one was a follow up to the other.
Right.
So this
Same
week,
with the history ones.
I wanted to do something that we haven't done, and it occurs to me that we have never done an episode about pretending things. So
Make believe.
I wanted to do a make-believe episode.
That's a great idea.
Season 4, episode 1, make-believe.
I love it.
So the kind of things that I wanted to talk about in this are like a couple things. I wanted to talk kind of a little bit about like childhood things you used to pretend and play as childhood, and like if you had imaginary friends or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or like in the more advanced stages, like when you're in adulthood, I think everybody sort of kind of tells like little fibs to facilitate social conversation in certain
Okay.
certain
Some
aspects.
little
Like you bend the truth to make conversations go a little smoother sometimes,
Sure.
or jokes or stories and stuff.
Yeah.
So things like that. I wanted to talk about make believe, little pretend things that you do.
I think that's great.
That you can work in your favor as an adult, or you know
Yeah.
things you did when you were a kid. So
I'm obsessed with childhood stuff.
yeah, let's start with the things you used to do when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Am I the only one here who had imaginary friends when they were kids?
I did not have an imaginary friend.
I don't think I did.
but I felt like I was supposed to.
I had a stuffed dog. That his name was Boss.
Oh, his name was Boss?
That's a fucking cool name for a
had
stuffed dog. Dude.
He had like a collar,
Okay.
like a black collar with like silver stars all over it.
Keep on rolling.
And he was black and white.
Okay.
His black dog with like a white belly and like. But yeah, I called him Boss.
That's a really great
That was
idea.
my stuffed animal for like I don't know, a while.
How did you decide to call him
Big
Boss?
boss.
I don't know. I think I just decided like he looked like he was in charge of
Yeah.
like my other toys.
Do you know? That's interesting. I actually have my childhood stuffed animals. I just got them from my mom really recently because maybe a couple months ago she gave me a big bin of stuff that she had saved since I was a kid.
I still have my first stuffed animal. It was my favorite stuffed animal that I carried for a long time till I was like 9.
Oh, yeah?
Don't tell anybody that I told you that.
Right.
I was like one of those kids who was weird and carried a stuffed animal around way too long. Yeah, his name was Bear Bear because I was a fucking stupid kid.
Real creative.
Yeah, this little tiny stuffed bear.
He was a chicken.
Yeah, and like being an autist, he was a chicken. Being an autist, I don't know what a fucking bear looks like. It was a stuffed dog. It's not a bear at all. No.
What was I doing?
It was a little stuffed bear, and like being like on the spectrum. Time Warner Cable is now Spectrum. Redefining what autism can be. No, I was like really like touch sensitive, so I used to like rub him up against my face and stuff. To the point where like all the fur started coming out of him. So I'll have to, if I can find him, I have him at my apartment right now.
Okay.
So I have to dig him out of the closet and I'll show him to you because he's like completely torn up. Bear looks like he's been through Vietnam. Like he's just fucking torn apart. But yeah, it was he was like my little buddy, and I had him for years and years. I still have him.
I think that they're really important when you're a kid, and also like I don't know, like I had a brother really close in age, but like you know, you were like way apart from your siblings, right? As far as
Way
age.
apart.
So like,
okay, so my brother Jamie was getting out of the Marine Corps when I was 2.5 years old.
right. So
Wow.
like when you're like a kid, like way different in age from your siblings,
Yeah.
that is a really important instrument for you as far as like having someone around. You create someone like you around because you know. Like I had a little brother all the time to contend with and sometimes argue with and go insane over. But
Yeah.
I feel like if you're that like that, you basically live like an only child.
Yeah, I had to make up my own friends. I had before you like get socialized and you go to like schools and preschool and stuff like that.
Right.
I had two imaginary friends, Johnny and Mike. And one of them was just, this is gonna sound really stupid. One of them was just like a normal younger black kid.
Okay.
And then the other one was this like greaser kind of kid who lived in a palace in the sky and rode a motorcycle. So it was just
Are
like
you serious?
just like a normal kid, and
Yeah.
then
And then you guys is like way rad friend.
it was Mike who
cooler
lived
than
in
both of you.
literally lived in a palace in the clouds and rode a motorcycle. Fucking cool, right? Yeah. So
How
I
much did you believe in this imaginary friend?
pretty seriously. Like it was
Wow.
just to the point where I had like dreams about them.
Yeah.
And like when I was older, I had dreams about them. When I was like 13, 14, I was having dreams about like that they were real.
So you like finished out
People.
the mythology of them.
Yeah, like I had the whole thing fleshed out, and then I don't remember exactly when I stopped talking. To probably around the time I went to preschool, like 4 years old,
Yeah.
when I actually met like real friends, and you know what I
Right.
mean.
Right.
But yeah,
Become less necessary as you get older.
yeah. When I was little, it was just there weren't. It was just Alec. Alec was the only kid in my neighborhood that I was friends with, and I didn't have any other friends besides him.
Yeah, right.
Because I wasn't out in the world yet. You know what I mean? It was just like my parents and Alec, and
Yeah.
I only saw Alec like once or twice a week. So.
You know what my memory is of imaginary friends? I remember feeling like I was supposed to have one, and I remember feeling like the only purpose of this imaginary friend was to be in a chair already when people went to sit down. So that I could go, no, don't sit on whatever. I don't even know if he had a name. He was just the person that was in the chair, so you couldn't sit in it. I never really envisioned anyone.
Yeah, you just wanted to. You felt like it was something you were supposed to do.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. That's really weird.
That's
right?
that's a thing that kids do. Is like you
They
feel like
fall
you're
into their
supposed.
roles.
Okay, so like I'll give you one. Like,
Yeah.
did you ever pretend to be asleep when you were a kid?
Yes,
Okay, a kid's
because
just
you're supposed to be asleep.
because you're supposed to be asleep. Kids just pretending to be asleep. Even when
Oh yeah.
your parents know you're not asleep.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
being pretend to sleep.
yeah, right. It's one of those weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did that a lot.
Yeah.
Like even it's like
Why do you do that?
I don't know.
It's really strange, right?
It is really strange.
I pretended to do that once in college when I had drank too much. I passed out on the couch of one of my friends from work.
Yeah.
And all of them like came up to me and like counted down and screamed to try to wake me up. And so like I could hear them, like I knew it was coming. And so I just laid completely still and they're like,
Just ignored it.
yeah, like, whoa, he's really out. And then I just like sat up.
That's not bad. That's good. You ended up winning on that exchange, which
did.
most people do not.
I did. Yeah, I was still reasonably conscious, but I was trying to get some sleep.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, like, and then naturally, all the shit you did to play when you were a kid, like,
Yeah.
If you never played superheroes and
yeah.
done this to show that you're Wolverine,
Oh, with the 3 fingers kind of thing.
3 fingers,
Yeah.
it just
yeah,
I
lightsaber fighting without actual lightsaber toys. Just,
cardboard tubes, man.
yeah, right.
I remember this is weird. This is I don't know. I think probably everyone did this. Maybe I'm wrong. I used to, if not pretend, I used to entertain the idea that I could move things with my mind.
Yes, all the time. Oh,
Even
yeah.
though I knew it was never going to happen. And I spent too much time doing
Yeah, I
that.
did too. Yeah.
There was a particular dumpster out back of Watson Elementary. There was a blue dumpster right by where the cafeteria sort of door was
Okay.
in the back, where you do like the recess on the parking lot.
Yep. What a stupid.
I know.
They just played recess on a parking lot.
Yeah, like of all things, there was no one like standing there like keeping people from plowing through a bunch of children.
Yeah, right.
We were just in the blacktop That's so dangerous.
I know,
Whatever.
right? I know it's weird, and like, never mind the fact we used to play tag.
Yeah,
like
you're running on blacktop.
right.
Yes,
It's super not safe.
because the lawn was too wet. You couldn't run in the grass, so you're playing on asphalt.
Right.
But I used to spend way too much time sitting there staring at that dumpster,
Trying to make it.
seeing if I could move it.
Yeah, I used to do that with stuff in my room all the time. Just like try and use the Force.
Yeah,
When the first time I saw Star Wars, like,
Oh yeah.
because every kid, that's if that's the
dream,
ultimate
dude.
goal of make believe is to be the object of whatever the fantasy or the story or whatever it is. Like,
Right.
every kid wants to be. I think maybe it's about being special.
yeah,
Like, everyone wants to be unique and special and able to do something that no one else can do.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because being a kid, it's so obvious that you're not in control of anything,
See, I always had this I always had this thing with like being at the control center of something, or being at like the
Oh, yeah.
the cockpit of a spaceship, or like the control center for a base or something like that.
Whatever it is,
So,
you're in
like-
charge. You own the thing.
Yeah, so like those control room scenes in Jurassic Park were weirdly some of my favorites. Obviously, the dinosaurs kicked ass.
Actually, the control room scenes were some of my favorite too.
Yeah, but I wanted to be Samuel L. Jackson, hacking into the system, and
I just wanted to play with computers so bad.
I wanted to manage Jurassic Park. I wanted the big map. I wanted to be able to turn the power
I
to the
wanted to
gates
do
on
that
and off.
Unix thing that no operating system uses, where they navigate.
No,
through
that was a
folders.
real thing.
Wait, really?
That was a real
like a
Unix
file explorer
Yeah,
for
it's a
Linux?
file explorer. That was a real thing.
Wait, you could really fly through folder structures? That's cool.
Yeah, it was like a proof of concept thing. It never got widely distributed, but yeah, it was like someone designed it as like a visual file explorer.
I thought that was purely fictional.
No,
I'm
that's
so
a real
amazed that
thing.
that's real, because that was one of the coolest parts of the movie for me.
Yeah.
And I think actually was one of the first times where I really decided I want to do computer stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, computers are cool, and I want to do stuff like that.
Well, so one of the first things I did to kind of make believe about, as Spider-Man Homecoming so aptly puts it, being the guy in the chair. The guy who he's got the computer, he's got the headset,
Right.
Guy in the chair, the remote support for the hero.
Sure, right. The dude that's always over like a phone call, opening doors and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Dane Cook has a bit about that where he talks about every guy wants to be in a heist.
Yes.
And they've got the hacker guy.
That's so true, though.
he's like, I'm on Friendster. They rerouted me to Friendster.
oh, that was his one good special.
Yeah.
That was,
right.
that was the same one with Burger King, right?
Mm-hmm.
The bit about Burger King.
Was that the one where he was wearing a black tank top and did the alien impression?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
Man, by a round of applause, how do you feel?
really good. That's a good joke. That guy wasn't not funny.
He got a bad rap. I think because he
got exhausting.
He didn't go through
did
the
get
same
exhausting.
He didn't go through the same rigmarole that every comedian goes through. Of like, he just got
He
famous very
hopscotched his
quickly.
way up
Yeah.
to the top of the list.
And that's not his fault. That's just
Right.
He was the right guy at the
Sure.
right time.
Comedy does that to people all the time.
He did settle way down when he got older. Yeah, he
Yeah.
settled tuned down the pay attention to me thing.
Yeah, party guy. That's the thing is,
Right.
Dane Cook was more like the guy at the party that is fun for 15 minutes, and then you kind of just want to get away from him.
Yeah.
Then he was like a comic.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's
What?
nothing.
really accurate.
Ooh.
Did you just get a lot of ash in your mouth?
No, I just thought about something.
Okay.
So anyway,
Okay.
but my first inkling of wanting to be that, but the guy in the chair was when I drew. You know how in school buses they have the panel that shows you when the yellow and red lights are on.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's it's all up above here.
All those,
I
instruments.
drew that out. I drew all that stuff out on a few sheets of paper. Whoa, shit. On a few sheets of paper and taped them to my bedroom wall so I put all my toys behind me and sat in the front Like
when your parents found you, they must have just about doubled over.
I seem to remember my mom being pretty amused.
Yeah, you fully constructed the reality.
Keep
of
it down
being a
back
bus
there.
Right.
Yelling at the
I'll turn this bus around.
Just pictured Chris Farley and Billy Madison, but you're like 4. Just
I forget what I had, but I know I had some kind of prop for like the little CB.
Yeah, right. The coolest thing about the bus, though, ultimately, was that swivel handle that opens the doors.
Yeah.
There's a swivel and it goes. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that was, I think, pretty early on, I think my make-believe got relegated to video games.
Yeah.
And has been for most of my life. Not most of my life. I mean, I did a lot of writing in college where, you know, and I think that's a good way to kind of channel that instinct to pretend is by just writing.
Yeah.
You know?
I think so, too. Most people don't have an outlet for that.
Right.
Other than being, like, liars.
yeah.
Right.
Most people don't engage their capacity for make-believe other than to lie to other people.
Yeah, that's kind of a lot of how it goes when you get it to be an adult is how much of a liar are you going to be? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, then also we're doing something every other week that sort of counts.
Sure, yeah, we play D&D.
Play D&D.
That's the healthy way to
roleplay.
do it, yeah.
Yeah. You can role play as part of a game. You can role play, you know, just to, you know, write a community story. You can role play in the bedroom.
Yeah.
I was looking for that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I mean, it still counts.
No, it's super valid. Super valid. Yeah. Whatever you're into, man. I don't want to poo-poo somebody's. I don't want to yuck someone's yum.
I don't want to poo-poo.
I don't want to poop.
But I kind of have to.
I do kind of have to. You get these meatball farts.
Meatball farts.
Dave, I want to remind you that the pressure is on you this season
What's that?
to have a Hall of Fame fart for
It's
the best
not going to happen.
Yeah.
I would sooner shoot myself in the head.
than fart live on the air.
Yeah.
Well, we've both done it.
Right.
We both have Hall of Fame
Good
farts.
for you.
It's on the short, as you put it, the short list for best farts of the year of all time.
Cut to a few weeks from now where there's a bribery scheme where I've paid one of you to impersonate my fart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a slide of 20 under the table.
I got you, buddy.
Yeah, no, that's
Oh,
not
God.
that's not happening.
I used to like I said I only had really up until like preschool. I only had Alec was like the only other kid that I knew, and it was just because he was on the same street as me.
Right.
You know, it was really easy. And I'm still friends with him, by the way, which is fucking awesome.
You
He's
guys
like
lucked out because that doesn't happen all the time.
my oldest
Right.
friend, who I still love dearly, and is one of the best friends. You guys and him are like the best friends of my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't get that all the time.
You don't. Yeah. I
mean, the first-
super uncommon.
Although, how funny is this? I mean, not that I am currently friends with him or actively, you know, but I would know how to get a hold of him at least. The first person that I met as a kid that became my friend was Tommy Vacation.
Tommy Vicasey, yeah.
Right across the street from me.
He was one of my best friends, for a long time.
Yeah,
like
God.
super, super tight. Which incidentally, if you're listening, Tommy, hey,
yeah.
I don't think you are, but hey, give me a call sometime.
I would love to hear from Tommy.
Come on the podcast. We would love to
hear
have
from
you
Tommy.
on.
Oh my God.
It would be so much fun. Yeah, that's really, you guys grew up on the same street,
Yeah,
right?
he lived right across the street from me. He
Yeah.
was, I guess he would have been more my brother's age, maybe, I guess.
Yeah.
Or a little bit younger.
Yeah, he would have been.
And we used to hang out all the time. And the thing is, they had a Sega Genesis and we
Yeah.
had a Super Nintendo.
Right.
So it was great, like
was
that
perfect.
sort of.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
get
yeah.
to play a bunch of different games.
Cross-platform.
I don't know if I had that then or if we got it later, but we did have the Nintendo. But the thing is, back then, he was just a little kid, and there was I was a little kid. We didn't have much personality to go on.
No, you're just
and
kids.
we weren't that close. We were just like kids that hung out and played because
Sure.
we lived across the
That's
street.
part of being on the street with somebody, yeah.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, too, like he played rough as a kid.
Yeah, right. So actually, so did Alec.
Yeah.
Like it was just,
Right. It's part of socializing.
part
though.
of socializing.
Kids have to learn like what's cool and what's
Sure,
not.
right. I think I did too. I did a lot. I know I did when I got older. You
Yeah.
know. I can remember the time when.
Another time.
Do you remember?
When I took you into my bedroom and it was completely unethical for me to do so.
Oh my god.
No, I remember actually the moment when Alec and I went from just being childhood friends to being like friends.
Yeah.
Like actual, grown up kid friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
We had he was a grade ahead of me. He's a year older than me, almost exactly a year older than me by like a year and a week.
Okay.
And we was like in middle school. He was off. He was friends with his friends from his grade, and I was, a grade below him. So we were like, you doing the thing where you hang out with people your own age, and even though it's only a year apart, it's radically different at that
in
age.
school, that's everything.
Right.
You don't hang out with people in different grades unless you've got some great big reason.
Right, exactly. And I remember we went almost a whole year without talking to each other just because of school. And it wasn't like because we were like mad at each other or anything.
No, it's this invisible rule.
Yeah, it was just like one day in the summer before we were still friends, but we just didn't hang out again after that. And I remember like the next summer, I just got a phone call from him one day, like early in the summer, and he's like, "Hey man, how you doing? I realized I haven't seen you for a long time. You want to come over and we'll do something?" And that was he called me and was like, "Hey, come over. I miss you." You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And that was the moment it went from just being like childhood friends to like,
Yeah.
Yes, you've grown up and you're choosing your own friends.
we're gonna be friends for a long time. You know what I mean? So
you're no longer letting friendships be dictated by like all the invisible rules.
yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. I can actually pinpoint that moment where I remember that because we had been through so much together when we were kids. That was like I said, I had imaginary friends. I was like just a by myself kind of kid, which is fine because a lot of kids are. But like I didn't have siblings to kind of help me socialize in the world. It was just like me and my parents and then him. So I kind of owe him a lot because he was like my first real friend in the world and still is, one of my best friends.
Yeah.
Certainly my oldest friend.
That's
really
nice,
cool.
isn't it?
It is really nice.
You don't always keep those people around. You're not always that lucky.
28 years I've been friends with him. Or no, but about 28 years once I turned 30. So
Holy shit.
yeah, that's kind of crazy, right? We've been friends. I was 2, he was 3.
When's your 30th?
April 5th
This
year.
Oh, dude. That's so sad.
Is it? I'm not. You know what?
kidding.
Yeah, I'm not dreading it at all. I think that's like everybody thinks that's like a big thing. I'm not dreading it at all.
I hated mine, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, you're in a better place than I was when I turned 30.
Yeah.
I feel good. I'm really happy.
For me, 30 really sucked, but like 31 was fine.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Yeah, it's
cool.
I've always been the baby of every group of friends that I've ever been in. Ever, I've always been the young one.
baby.
Good, yo, baby.
I'm the baby. Gotta love me.
Gotta love me.
I'm turning 33 in like less than a
Holy
week.
shit! Yeah,
Yeah.
you are. It's coming up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna feel like a fucking idiot. Is it
No, it's okay. I don't remember anyone's
the
birthdays.
19th?
It is.
Okay.
I don't remember anyone's birthdays, so don't feel bad.
Yeah.
So 33 is coming around the corner, and I thought I'll celebrate with some Rolling
From the
Rock.
glass line tanks of Old Latrobe, we
because
tender
of
to you this premium beer
beer.
as
Yeah.
tribute to your good taste. 33.
33. 33.
We gotta have your Rolling Rock birthday.
Yeah, right. No, that's gonna happen.
Okay.
I'm
good.
pretty sure that the 19th is it's sometime this weekend. I can't remember when. Maybe
Yeah.
Saturday.
Okay.
I don't know. But we'll probably do a little bit of something on Sunday when people come over.
Sure.
And there will be some Rolling Rock.
Sure.
It's 33.
33 from the glass line tanks. That's cool, man.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of more like pretending kind of stuff I did as a kid, but I didn't do that much of it.
Well, there's always like the standard shit you do, like when you go to a playground. Like actually, Ben, the first time you and I met was at Boardman Park when we were
Yeah.
I love that.
small fucking world, right?
Yeah.
Like we met when we were really young
Met in the
kids.
trenches of Quezon.
Quezon, right? I had trench foot, and you were wrapping it for me and trying to slap me back to
Right.
life.
Talking to myself. And
No, we met at Boardman Park. It was you and your brother, if I remember correctly.
oh, was my brother there
I
too?
think he was.
Probably, right?
Probably was. Yeah.
Pete's younger than you are, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Pete's 2 years younger than me.
Sorry, I just distinctly remember. I do remember that day. I remember playing.
Yeah.
It's just so. It's
Was
so
that
fucking-
Kids Town?
Kids Town.
Kids Town.
That sweet ass fucking
still
best
there
little
now.
gym
Dude,
made out
the
of wood.
best playground.
That was so cool as a kid.
It was really good.
But the cool thing about it is the way it was designed was there was all sorts of stuff that you could pretend on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
right.
There was a lot of like windy paths on the inside of the playground.
It had
so
one
you-
of those cool bouncy bridges.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the bouncy bridge. I remember playing with the chimes a lot because I like that
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah,
Right, right.
chimes, yeah.
And then that hang glidey thing where if you get a running start, you just
Oh, those.
Yeah.
jump up onto the bar and you just
Yeah.
go flying across the fucking
I
thing.
still don't know what mechanism those operate.
Ball
on.
bearings.
ball bearings, right?
Really?
Yeah, they just.
I'm
'Cause they
sure.
roll so smooth.
Yeah, I'm sure it's ball bearings.
Must be.
Yeah, super cool. That was like easily the most make a believable park because there was so much to do there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was really, really fun.
I remember like my grandmother and then like all I used to spend a lot of time at my grandma and grandpa's because when I was younger, like by that point my grandma couldn't work anymore because of she had arthritis really bad. Arthritis. Arthritis. Arthur. I need some cortisone, Arthur. My hands are really sore.
You sure about this,
You show about this stuff. Just shoot me up, Arthur. Show nudging.
I need my medication.
But yeah, she like she was retired. So when my parents were at work, I would spend a lot of the time when I was in school.
Yeah.
And then like after I'd get out of school at my grandparents' house because babysitters or not babysitters, but like daycares are fucking expensive. And my grandma and grandpa were both at home. So
I came home from school to my grandma quite often. She would be there quite a bit when I was a kid.
yeah, it just makes everything easier. I was there all the time. But I remember grandma was always like, didn't want to drive all the way out to Boardwood Park because I was
Like, fuck that.
I'd be like begging her, like, please take me to Kids Town. It's so cool. It's like the best place.
Yeah.
But yeah, very rarely. It was always like a treat when I got to go to Kids Town because they just, they're old people. They don't want to fucking drive all over creation.
My
There's
grandma-
other playgrounds that are closer.
If I remember correctly, what my grandma wanted to do was to sit on the back porch, have cigarettes, and just
Yep.
let me watch some TV while we
Oh,
chilled out together.
man.
That was it.
That sounds like my grandma. Ooh.
She was, I have like these vivid memories of her like smoking light cigarettes, wearing those like windbreaker jackets that
Yep.
everyone had in the late 90s, and maybe eating like a Taco Bell chili cheese burrito.
Your grandma wear a babushka, the little head throw thing?
Not often, but I think she did
Yeah,
sometimes.
my grandma always had the little head wrap,
Little babushka.
little babushka on. Yep.
I think she did sometimes, but she curled her hair quite a bit.
Remember Apple's grocery store? You guys remember Apple's?
I do. That's where that guy worked that creeped my mom out.
I don't remember apples.
That-
Okay,
Tell you
so you
that
know where
story?
Kmart is in Austintown?
Yes.
It's now a family home and farm.
Yeah.
But that used to be Apple's grocery store. It was like a
Right.
Ruley's kind of place. They had their own bakery, meat department.
Right.
It was a
Yeah.
very, very large grocery store.
Kind of. I think it was owned by the same people. That was well, it was IGA at one point.
It was. Yeah.
was the Santeesis.
That was after it
Yeah.
was Apple's. Apple's was first.
Gosh, what was it before that? I guess it doesn't matter, but yeah, right. Yeah, it was another sort of multi-departmental grocery store.
Yeah, huge kind of place.
There was a guy there that bagged groceries that my mom was creeped out by, and one time, not one time, multiple times, he used to pat our heads after he finished like bagging groceries, and my mom like let loose on him once because she was super uncomfortable with him touching her kids.
Yeah, right. As most people would be. I like.
Anymore, especially, but
Yeah,
I feel
don't
like back
touch
then
my
it didn't
kids.
strike me as that weird.
Yeah.
But then
See,
I don't know.
it's hard because I play peekaboo with kids. Like just when I'm out at restaurants or stores. Like I'm sorry. I like
Right.
kids are fun. So I like
Right.
A kid
If I-
walked past me in Aldi the other day and he went, "Hi," and he like pointed his hand all the way out at me, and I just couldn't stop laughing. Hi. Kids are great.
Yeah, they are. They're really fucking fun.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand.
You
Maybe-
wouldn't touch some
I
stranger's
wouldn't.
kid.
I wouldn't. No,
No,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
unusual. That's highly irregular.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
cool. Not cool. But
Maybe
that's
back
like
then
an
it was-
old fashioned thing. I think.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, stranger danger was happening when I was a kid, and I think I was like one of the earlier generations of kids to be constantly told that everyone around you wants to hurt you or molest you or whatever, kidnap you. Like they didn't used to tell that to everybody,
Right.
So for like our whole generation of kids, it was like, don't talk to anyone, don't trust anyone.
Yeah.
I don't know you, run away.
Don't talk to strangers is not a. You know what
Yeah.
I mean.
It's not actually helpful because almost all the time, the person that's going to kidnap you or molest you or kill you
Someone you know.
is someone
victim
in
knows,
your family.
Right, exactly. So it's like the better thing is like, hey, don't look out for this kind of shit because it's not cool.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like explain behaviors that are not safe or
That's how it was
normal.
explained to me. Is like, like very gently when I was very small. It's like, hey, if anybody tries to do this, or this, maybe let us know. You know.
Yeah, I was told if you're uncomfortable, get out of there.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't remember any distinct talk like that. I wonder if my parents just trusted me to just kind of
Have the
react.
judgment.
They might have been smart enough to just not ruin your childhood.
Or just like trusted me enough to react with anger to anything I found uncomfortable or distasteful, like I usually did.
Yeah, like, there's no way our kid's getting. No one's taking him.
Yeah,
It's gonna like bite him or something.
Actually, I think I've said this on the podcast before. I almost got abducted twice.
Yeah, I think we talked about this actually.
One time when I was really small, like 4, this guy, mom went into the house for like a second to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
And some guy pulled into the driveway and was like trying to find his cat. And I was like halfway leaned into the window of the car.
Yeah.
When my mom came out and was like, get the fuck over here.
Yeah.
And this, I'm like, Mom, he's just looking for his cat. And by the time I looked over, the guy backed out of the driveway and was booked it down the road. And then it happened again when I was like 8 or 9. It was like 3 people in a car. And there was 2 guys in the front and then a woman in the back. And I was like leaned into the back seat of the car. What's fucking wrong with me?
How many times?
How many fucking
leaned
times?
into the unmarked vehicle?
Yeah.
It's
It's
just-
fucking idiot. And they did the same thing. They
Don't worry,
fucking
Mom.
floored it.
Don't worry, Mom. They're all looking for their
Yeah.
various cats.
That was in Austin Town.
Yeah.
It happened in Austin Town, 200 yards from a school.
The thing is, everybody knew which houses were the weird ones, which cars were the weird ones, and they would be on high alert.
Yeah, right.
There was a guy, I'm sure he was probably harmless, but there was a guy who used to sit in his garage on like a chair and just watch people all day.
Yeah. That's an old guy thing.
It's an old guy thing.
That's an
Yeah.
old guy thing. That's not a
Right?
creepy
That
thing.
used to freak my mom out. But then there was also like more than once vehicles going real slow around the neighborhood that she would be like, get up here. Don't be
don't
near
be
the end
down
of the
there, right.
road. Because, how fast can someone throw you in a car and leave?
Super easy.
Yeah.
Super easy.
That's a
Yeah.
gone in 20 seconds kind of.
And then you have to play make believe for the rest of your life.
You're right, right. That that this is your dad.
Yeah.
And it's not weird that we're living out of a motel in
New Jersey.
right.
Sheboygan.
This is my dad.
How about as
I
an
don't remember
adult?
anything else.
You guys, okay, so I brought up earlier because this just happened to me recently this week.
Okay.
like where you tell a little white lie that helps facilitate conversation.
Sure.
Because
I think it happens a lot.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
I was it Thoreau. Some old fucking writer once said something along the lines of, "I prefer solitude. A man is more himself when he's at home alone in his chambers than when he goes out amongst the world."
I think that one was not Emerson.
Was it Emerson?
I think it was Emerson.
Yeah. So I always really,
I could be wrong.
I super identified with that quote because I feel like I'm and it's gotten a little bit better the older I've gotten, but I
Yeah.
feel like I'm a different person when I'm by myself.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Actually, at this point in my life, I would say I'm pretty much me.
You're formed.
I'm pretty much me now. Like with you guys, the same person I am when I'm at home by myself. I'm very, very close.
I'm similar too, and I don't think that was always the case.
No, it wasn't. You put your best face on, I think, for the public. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm I'm kind of over that.
I used to be very, very comfortable with the fact that, like, I'm going to be extremely different in different contexts.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's some people who take that to an extreme.
Yeah, some people. Some people
like
are
fucking-
uncomfortably.
Right. And we
to
know
the point of like being duplicitous.
Yeah,
in-
right,
In a
exactly.
lot of cases.
and I'm sure I know we know a few people like that.
Yeah.
That just have to change who they are for, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that kind of gets tiresome when you push it to an extent. Like, people will probably like you for who you are if you just be yourself.
But if I had to be so different around people that of in different contexts, then I don't think I could do things like have my family and friends in the same room.
Yeah, it would be really hard because
Yeah.
you have to live that lie all the time.
Yeah, you got to be
It's
consistent in all
so-
places somehow.
And then, like, at some point, you have to rely on people to facilitate the lie for you, which is really weird. And if you've ever been part of that, it's fucking, like, really strange.
Lying is just tiring.
Yeah.
That's why whenever I lie, it includes a grain of the truth, so I don't have to remember it so
too
hard.
much, right? Yes. So I'll give you a good example. I told a little white lie. I was in line at Ruli's yesterday, basically, getting the stuff for I got the pork roast and everything, and stuff for the chicken wings and stuff that we had yesterday for the championship game.
Right.
And I when I was there, they have that little like front section that has all the little knick-knacky kitchen gadgets and stuff. I found for like $2 this little glass that measured out in half ounces.
Yeah.
Certain measurements, and I thought, oh, this, you know what I mean, like, because when my mom comes over, we do mixed drinks a lot, so we'll do a lot of like Tom Collins and Moscow Mules and things like that.
Yeah.
And I have a big shaker measuring glass like that, and I wanted one that was nice and simple, that was small, that I had, and I, put that in the cart when I went to ring out. And I told the lady, she commented on it when I set it up there. She's like, "Oh man, this is like my size shot glass because it's like a 4-ounce cup." And I'm like, what I said was, which is not true. What I said was, my mom's about to retire, so we do a lot of mixed drinks at my apartment, which is, I guess that's half true.
Yeah.
Said my mom's about to retire, which is not true. She's not about to retire.
But what you did was you transferred an idle thought you already had about your mom retiring someday or whatever.
Right.
You just kind of grabbed something and threw it in front of there.
Right. Yeah, and then we had a nice little pleasant conversation about she's like, "Oh yeah, well my mom and I like to go get margaritas." And I'm like, "Perfect. We just facilitated a conversation based on something that's not true. I just lied to this woman. My mom's she's going to retire at some point in the next decade, I think, but she's not there yet. We got a lot of time left to go."
Yeah.
So, but like that was a little made up thing that I did because it just made the conversation easier.
I completely understand that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's just one of those little social things that you do.
Well, because what you want to do is like say something human and relatable to facilitate the few minutes you have to talk to this person.
Right.
And anything closer to the truth with it taking more time
And more effort.
effort.
Exactly. So
I
that's
feel like
the
I've
thing.
done that at least once, maybe multiple times, out of just laziness. Like,
Sure.
Let me just say something that you probably expect that is easy enough,
Right.
Just to shoot the shit.
The fundamental difference between lies and little white lies.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lying is bad. Little white lies are, necessary, I think, sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
Just to make things easier.
I did
Especially if you're socially awkward. It's just really easy to kind of.
I did something very similar the other day at Sparkle, and it wasn't even really intended to be a lie. I kind of believed it as I said it, but then I realized immediately after it was wrong, and I didn't correct it.
Yeah, right.
Which is that I had to pick up tomatoes because I'd used all the tomatoes making tomato sauce. I didn't realize Christy was counting on there being some tomatoes because she had some stuff to cook too. So she asked me if I used them all, and I went, "Yeah, oh my god, yes I did. I'll bring home some tomatoes." So I went into Sparkle and I got 4 cans of tomatoes, and I went up to the aisle, and the girl says, "How you doing?" And I didn't want to just be like, "Yeah, fine, whatever. Here's my card." So I said, "No, you're not too bad. I used all the tomatoes. I got to bring some more tomatoes home." Oh, and then this was also not true. I was like, girlfriend's mad. I used all the tomatoes. Chrissy wasn't mad.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It was just, I don't know why I said it.
You just facilitate it helps facilitate the conversation. Yeah, it's just easier.
So then she says, "Well, what's she making?" And I couldn't remember, so I just said curry. And then within like 4 seconds, I realized, no, she's making lasagna.
Yeah, right. Whatever. Right? But it's just easier.
Right. So then she says, "Enjoy your curry." And of course I go, "I will."
All right.
Right. It's just like,
it's just easy.
Does anything that I said to her, though, or she said to me, matter in any way?
No.
It doesn't matter.
Right. That's what I mean. There's a fundamental difference between lying and little white lying.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm just burbling at you.
Yeah, right. It just makes certain situations a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's going to make a lot of people really happy.
This is going to make a lot of people feel a lot better about some bullshit they said.
But yeah, I think that's kind of most of the make-believe you do when you're an adult.
It's just all the time, though. Because like the thing is, like, especially in idle conversations with strangers, in weird moments where it doesn't matter, I'll just agree with people's shit sometimes. Yeah. Even if I don't agree with it, just because I don't want to argue with a stranger weirdly for no reason.
There's a point when you realize that, like, when you're a kid, it's a little easier. But there's a point when you're grown up, I think for most people, that you realize that, like, lying is just way too tiresome. It's just so much easier to be
outright big old fabrication.
Yeah, it's just so much easier to just be honest about most things.
It's funny. I feel like Dan might listen to this, and I feel like Dan has some interesting stories about this. I kind of wish we had him to talk to you about this.
Well, let's call him right now.
Let's call him live. But he would have some interesting thoughts on this one for sure.
Because he's a huge fucking liar. You can't fucking trust anything the guy says. He just every single thing out of his mouth is fucking horseshit. And frankly, I'm fucking sick of it. I'm just tired of it.
You know what? Let's call him now and bitch about
That
it.
fucking piece of shit. That worthless, disgusting.
You know what's bad is that we're gonna forget we had this conversation,
and he's gonna remind
and
us.
next week he's gonna be like, "Are you guys? What's going on?
Are you guys mad at me? I just want everyone to be okay.
Oh my god.
The backlog is a bad idea.
Yeah, really bad.
Really bad."
I saw Lion Dan Chardowski,
And he said some things, and
he
I
said
thought they
something-
were not true.
He told me he rode a motorcycle and a palace in the sky, and I was like, not so good. We say no, America.
He told me that he 100% in Super Mario World, and I thought this is bullshit.
This
There's
is
no way.
bullshit. There's
I've
no
seen
way.
this guy play. He can't do it. Get out of here.
I've seen Siglemic's 120-star run at GDQ, and I know that Dan Chardowski does not have the.
He hasn't mastered the half A press.
Oh my god! No, he's
So
not. He's
silly.
gonna seriously in a week. He's
Yeah.
gonna be like, guys, what the fuck?
He's a fucking liar. I mean, he's a. No, he's not.
No, but like Dan, like he would have some interesting things to say about this one, just because, like, I think we all have times. Like, I've gone through times where I've been less honest, for sure,
Absolutely.
and I've learned the lesson to not do that because
Right.
sucks.
I think I told you guys, like, when I was in college, I tried I felt like all my friends were smarter than I was.
You
So
have
I
said that before.
I tried very hard to sound as smart as possible in college, because, like, you two and Drew especially were just like,
It's so funny you think that.
I felt like you were just, and I still feel like you guys are just light years smarter than I am.
Nope. Nope. I feel like if anything has been proven out by this podcast after 3 complete seasons, it's that everyone at this table is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That's fair.
Yeah, I tried so hard to seem intellectual around you guys because it was just.
yeah, you don't want to be. You don't want to be.
You're in college. You're like 19 years old in college. You want to be. You
Right.
want to be.
half the reason you're there is to get smarter.
You want to be important. You want to seem like your opinion matters and you know what you're talking about.
Boys go to college to get more knowledge.
Yeah, right.
Girls go to Jupiter to get more stupider.
That's what I learned.
That's what I learned.
Why would anyone go anywhere to get more stupider?
Because
Well, then why do people go to bars?
because ignorance is bliss.
That's
Right.
true. Thank you, Cypher from the Matrix.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss.
The steak is meaty and delicious.
Mistaken.
The thing is, I
Don't be
can't.
someone famous. Like
Like an actor. The thing is, I can't look at that guy without picturing him as Ralphie from The
Me too.
Sopranos. He's
Ralphie
the
forever
fucking
now.
piece of shit Ralph Cifaretto from The Sopranos. He just Cypher. I don't see Cypher. I just see Ralphie.
Well,
Oh!
he's so good in that role.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
My favorite Ralph moment is when there's a scene in The Sopranos where he kills a stripper out back behind the strip club.
He like kicks her to
He
death.
like brutally beats her up and kills her with his
Jesus
bare hands.
Christ.
And like
What a heartwarming
Yeah, right.
Ralphie moment.
and he's got like the rest of the guys go out and they see the body and like
Classic Ralphie.
they have it. They basically have him out back and he's got a drink in his hand.
Oh,
and,
that
like,
rascal.
Tony goes up to the body and then walks back over to Ralph like he's gonna fucking hit him,
Yeah.
and he slaps the drink out of his hand, and Ralph goes, "Oh!" Like he's so offended that Tony knocked the drink
Yeah.
out of his hand.
It's this perfect moment of like,
Whoa.
these dudes have like nothing in context.
Yeah, right.
They don't understand the gravity of their
Of
actions.
what they just did, right? Yeah, that just fucking cracks me up.
Speaking of make believe, I think it wasn't last night. It was a few nights ago where I messaged you guys and said like I know all mob movies tell you that
Yes. was
being in
Friday,
the
I
mob
think.
is bad and it'll destroy your soul and you should never want to be a part of such a brutal life.
Yeah.
But also, you just want to run the biggest operation in town and
Yeah.
eat at a nice Italian restaurant.
That's all we
with
wanna
your
do.
with your trophy wife and
We want to be successful dudes being successful,
In the-
enjoying the best little bits of life.
in a big city where you don't have to. If you get in trouble with the cops, you throw the department a little scratch.
Yeah,
you know?
right. But what that really says is we all just want to have nice things and be unaccountable for our behavior.
Right.
Duh.
Yeah. That's really the core takeaway.
Right.
Which, of course, we do.
Yeah.
That's being a person, let alone a man. Being a person is, I want all the good things, and I want to be able to do what I want to do.
Right.
You know? Who can't get behind that?
Right. Did you guys ever do like what you okay, I do this, I do weird things like while I'll be in the shower, which is like your most private alone time, I think.
Yeah.
Where you just like you're in the shower and the hot water is hitting you and you just start jerking off. Sorry.
You grab that bottle of coconut lotion that's not for that. And
You just fucking crank one out right down the drain.
Oh my god.
like start grabbing weird soaps and shampoos and stuff just to see
make
what
believe
feels
someone's
best.
blowing you in the shower.
I beg your pardon. I recycle. That just goes right back into my digestive tract. That's a lot of protein, and I already am low on protein.
Right. It's
I want to lose.
it's it's that moment where I'm standing in the shower with my head cocked back, having just caught my own load from the ceiling, and I just feel good about myself, You
ever think about how it's not socially acceptable anymore to eat your own kids, like the Titan Uranus.
I was just gonna say
Uranus devouring his children, but it's totally Kronos, but it's totally acceptable to eat your own semen.
Yeah, that's like millions upon billions of kids.
Totally
Yeah.
acceptable. Billions. You just ate billions of kids.
Acceptable.
Totally acceptable. Not weird. No, what I was gonna say. Did you ever like? I'm sorry.
Kronos devouring his man butter.
Ew.
All right.
Oh no, it was Saturn.
Are you sure it wasn't Kronos?
I think are Kronos and Saturn the same guy?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was Saturn devouring.
Yeah, it's one of those Greek Roman things. Kronos is definitely Greek.
His man gravy. Saturn
devouring.
Yeah,
Devouring.
it's Saturn. Francisco Goya.
What I was gonna say was
Oh my god.
Oh no.
This is a very graphic illustration.
No. Oh my
A
god.
man eating his children?
No, it's just someone repainted it
With a weird face.
He's
Yeah.
just eating sushi.
He's eating sushi.
Well, no, because this is the original.
Oh, right,
Right.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then someone repainted it. He's just enjoying sushi with his son.
I love it.
That's really funny.
Anyway,
What I was gonna say was, did you ever like when you're standing in the shower and you're by yourself? Do you ever like? I do weird things like pretend I'm an actor and I'll like act out movie scenes in my head and like put myself. Do you guys ever do that?
I
Like,
do all. You know what? Actually, this is a great aspect to make believe that I hadn't even considered. But yes, and actually, we were just talking on Goose Chase with Matt about something similar of role playing out scenarios, conversations, ideas.
Yes.
Even just like fantasies, like in your head and like having the conversations you would have, and you kind of find your lips moving as you're doing it.
Yeah. You just kind of like pretend that.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
a lot of that. I do a weird amount of that actually.
I like pretext conversations that I know I'm gonna have, and then I go back and fix conversations that I've already had.
Yeah.
right.
I find myself pacing and my mouth is moving.
Yeah. I do that a lot. Yeah, I do a lot of like pretending that I'm acting a scene in a movie and like trying to act something out differently. I actually did it recently. I watched the scene from Jaws, the USS Indianapolis speech, and I was like, I found myself doing that scene in the shower.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I know it pretty well, but I found myself like trying to act it out and be as convincing as possible, which is really weird and really silly. But because I'm like fucking 30 years old, but it's still fun. It's fun to do.
Oh my god, I can't remember what it was, but it's so funny we're talking about this now because not even like a couple of days ago, I was trying to remember something, and then in my reenactment in my head, you corrected me because you knew it better.
Really?
Yes, I can't remember what it was, but this actually happened.
No way.
I was thinking about something, and then I'm like, basically, I was like, Chris would actually know the words to this. Within the last couple of days.
Mental conversation is pretty legit.
Yeah.
you've certainly heard of rubber ducky debugging. Right, where
I don't know if I have.
It's a programming thing where a programmer will have like a rubber duck that he explains his code to, and by explaining it and vocalizing it out loud, hoping to find the point that's hanging him up.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because when you have to verbalize stuff, you take out a lot of assumptions.
Yeah,
you just sort of put everything out there that should be happening, and all of the stuff that you might miss.
Yeah,
just thinking about it.
Yeah,
that's cool. I don't think I've ever heard that term before. That makes a lot of sense.
Morty.
I don't know. I do a lot of that imagination stuff.
Like just playing around with certain scenarios.
Yeah, especially like if I'm driving or I'm doing any other thing where it's like I have to be doing it, but my mind doesn't necessarily have to be fully in it. I find myself doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like trying to play yourself up. That reminds me, listening to Bill Burr's podcast, which is an exponentially better podcast. Go listen to the Monday Morning podcast.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 3 seasons, and we're still trying to send people away.
But him talking about like how he has to put on, because he's a temper problem, having to put on a happy face.
Yeah, right.
So he does weird things like put a smiley face on. Like when he's about to call the cable company to complain about something that they changed with his package, he'll take notes and then write a smiley face on the top so he remembers to be happy. You know, like he puts it on the dashboard in his car, so he's like, smile. Just really funny.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah, like having to pretend that you're not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
To be normal, you know what I mean? And I think that's the big thing about being an adult, unless you're like a monster and you feel the need to lie about everything. Just trying to put on your best face, which I've, I think, evolved past. I think I'm fucking over that. I'm done with.
Yeah.
It's too many years of depression that just.
Well, life has a way of like evening you out to where it's like, I don't care what
life,
you think.
finds a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A big part of the motivation behind like not being your most genuine self is trying to manage what other people think.
Sure.
If you stop caring what people think,
way easier.
Oh, man.
Old people in that sense socially have it way easier because, they don't fucking give a shit.
being like 18, 20, 22, what a miserable time. 'Cause
Yeah.
all you're trying to do is convince other people that you're worth fucking and that you're smart enough and that you're like capable enough. Like everything you do is just trying to cut out a little piece of the chain to where you belong there.
Right.
God, you're not just some fucking scrub that rolled it off the street. Like you belong somewhere.
I'm so happy I'm married. So much less work.
Yeah.
I have someone who I know is going to love me.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically, no matter what, unless I do something really stupid. I just have to not fuck up catastrophically.
Yeah. You just have to not do that.
Yeah. Found someone who likes me somehow.
And the thing is, you could fuck up a lot of ways.
Yeah, sure.
And you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just basically keep it to the least serious ones.
Right.
Yeah, like don't like set your apartment on fire. Or
no promises. No promises.
right.
Can't say anything.
Anyway, I kind of feel like it's time.
Yeah,
We're at about an hour and a half
I think
here.
we've exercised. Do you guys like the topic? Was that
Yeah, I
good?
did.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I felt like it just popped into my head today when I was driving
Yeah.
around. Like, that would be good.
Yeah.
Why not? We never-
haven't talked about that before.
Want to try and explore like different things this
like
this
each
season.
each other's bodies and
each other's bodies.
like our feelings about Thai food. I don't know.
Anyway,
I got nothing.
yeah, I don't either. I'm tired. What time are we up to, incidentally?
Well, it's an hour and a half into the episode now, so it's
Oh
time.
shit! Yeah, it's time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I guess seeing as it is that time, why don't we take a break here
Yeah.
and come back with
Smoking and drinking.
smoking and drinking.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll be right back.
William Topaz McGonagall was his name.
Okay.
And there's a website that's serves as an archive of his works. Poet and tragedian of Dundee. has been widely hailed as the writer of the worst poetry in the English language. Self-educated hand-loom weaver of Irish descent, big surprise. He discovered his discordant...
Take that, the Irish.
well, no, because his last name is McGonagall.
Oh, so not bad poet because he's Irish.
Not because he's Irish. No.
McGonagall because he's Irish.
Right. He discovered his discordant muse in 1877 and embarked upon a 25-year career as a working poet, delighting and appalling audiences across Scotland and beyond. His audiences threw rotten fish at him. The authorities banned his performances.
Oh my God.
And he died a pauper over a century ago. But his books remain in print to this day, and he's remembered and quoted long after more talented contemporaries have been forgotten.
I would love some examples.
Let's see.
I feel like you've told me about this too.
Poems by subject. How about disasters?
Okay.
Come on.
He's actually supposed to be the worst.
He's actually supposed to be the worst. Then as now, the railway was one of the safest ways to travel. Rail accidents had a big impact, especially on McGonagall's career. This is the first stanza of the Tay Bridge disaster.
Okay.
Beautiful railway bridge of the Silvery Tay. Alas, I am very sorry to say that 90 lives have been taken away on the last Sabbath day of 1879, which will be remembered for a very long time. 'Twas about 7 o'clock at night, and the wind it blew with all its might. And the rain came pouring down, and the dark clouds seemed to frown, and the demon of the air seemed to say, I'll blow down the bridge of Tay. And there's several more stanzas that go along much like this. He one of his most infamous incidents was when he came a-knocking at Buckingham Palace after Tennyson had passed away, asking if they would make him the new poet laureate of Britain, and they basically said, "We'll get back to you."
What's his name again? McGonagall? What McGonagall?
William Topaz McGonagall.
Topaz.
Yeah.
Don't see that on a lot of driver's licenses.
He had a lot of poems about disasters, some military fare, some poems about holidays and important people, in which he essentially just, chronicled the date and what happened.
Yeah.
And
oh my God, it's like poetry literally writing itself, but with no guidance.
Right.
Oh, that's terrible.
And a complete and total absence of meter. He bothers to rhyme everything, but there's no meter.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking about missing poetry, so that's why you're hearing this conversation.
Yeah. It was I think a big part of all of our lives at some point.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say it's not a part of my life exactly right now, except it's just not a part I, access.
You work out anymore.
Yeah, it's not something that I give to myself. And sometimes I'll go through and read things I wrote or other people wrote.
Yeah.
And it'll really mean a lot to me.
Important silly note, everybody at this table, I think, is a published poet, right?
Yeah. Well, we were all published in the
Jenny.
In the student magazine, which we were all involved in. The
still counts.
Still counts. Still published.
Sure.
Yeah, we're all on some level, and we all used to write poetry.
Yeah. I used to really like writing poetry.
That was my favorite part of college. Was I got to take I took poetry classes with every major poetry professor, including your dad, who is a very, very good poetry instructor.
He's the only one I never had
that's right.
A teacher.
Yeah. He was definitely the most practical of all the poetry instructors I had, which is good because I took your dad first, and he kind of laid out the foundations of what you should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I took Will Greenway.
Take my dad, please.
Will Greenway and Phil Brady, who were both also excellent poets and excellent poetry teachers. They were just a little more loose.
Yeah.
Your dad, it was the first poetry class, and it was very obvious that it was, the rudimentary, how you begin to formulate and how you begin to write. And,
Right.
Try and write something deep without using overly flowery language, which is something everybody falls into, I think, when they try and write poetry.
My dad is not a fan of flowery language.
No, he's not. No, actually, I remember I wrote a poem and I used the word macabre, and he when he reviewed the poem, he's like, I need you to take that out of there.
This word doesn't sound like you.
He said, this is very, very archaic, and it doesn't sound right. He says, I need you to, poetry, he taught me one of the most important lessons, which is you want to try and find a new way of describing something without sounding like an asshole, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want to sound like a pretentious douche, but you want to try and find a new way of describing something.
Poetry is not necessarily like the search for like the most
esoteric.
Esoteric is a great word for it.
yeah.
Yeah, esoteric way to say something. It is a quest to find a way to say something that conveys it in a way that couldn't have been conveyed in any other language.
Right, exactly.
Driving at something very specific if you're doing it right, I feel like.
Your dad taught me
Yeah.
that, and then Will Greenway taught me that sometimes it's a good idea to write poetry when you're under the influence of illicit substances.
Yeah.
Which is also really good poetry advice.
Yeah. What Dr. Greenway told our classes was it's good to have a glass of wine or two, but never write poetry while you're high.
Yes.
Because you'll regret it the next morning when you're reading it and wondering what the fuck you were trying to
about.
Yeah.
Actually, Will Greenway gave me my favorite assignment I've ever gotten from any teacher ever, which was, all right, next week I want you guys, or when you come in next week, I want you to write me a villanelle. Or don't.
Villanelle.
He said, write me a villanelle, or don't. Actually, do whatever you want. And then left. It's my favorite assignment I've ever gotten. It's such an English department kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you're an
Yeah.
English major, that's like
All these guys have tenure too, so like,
Yeah, right.
this isn't like they're just like adjuncts that don't give a shit. Like this
Right.
is just how they are.
I'm tempted to believe that the specific way of phrasing that was meant to elicit some kind of response from the students that would be interesting and
Yeah.
unique, and maybe they would do something totally unthought of. But what I think it probably was is just, I don't know.
I
just
remember
write-
Corey Johnson actually wrote, and I think she brought it in for that,
Yeah.
for one of Will Greenway's poems. She wrote, I think, my favorite poem ever.
Oh, yeah?
Which is really, it's a friend of mine wrote what I think is my favorite poem. And it's called Sleeping in the Slaughterhouse. I have to find it. So, Corey, if you're listening to this, please give me a copy of that poem.
Yeah.
She gave me a copy and signed it, actually, because I asked her to. So I have that somewhere, and I'd really like to reread it because it's a very good poem, and it's really, really moving.
Yeah.
And it's this long form. It's in 2 stanzas, if I remember. One very long stanza, and then one short stanza at the end.
That rings a bell.
Yeah, it's
remember that
and
poem.
it's just like it's actually like really, really moving poetry when you read it.
Yeah.
She was great. She is great. She's published now. You should go buy her book. I'll look
She's
up
published
Corey
many
Johnson.
times over.
Yeah, several times over. Going for her doctorate right now.
Yeah.
Actually,
Without a doubt, one of our more talented friends, right?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the best of all of us. Like super talented, very intelligent, a very wonderfully giving person, and very easy to be friends with.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Gosh, I think about, there's so many poems that I can't remember what. This is the interesting thing about poetry, I think. Maybe you can remember all the words of a poem, maybe you can't, but you can always remember some vague,
feeling.
indescribable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if it's not the feeling, it's something like, it's like an image, or it's like a place that you were in your head that just like, it always leaves something with you.
Yeah.
Even if it's just dust, there's something that you don't forget.
Yeah, an impression or an emotion that there isn't a single word for.
Yeah. Which I guess is
sure.
the essence of poetry itself, right? Is like trying to dig at the indescribable.
Right.
Yeah, well, Will Greenway read a poem in one of the the class I was in with him, and I can't find it, and it makes me very sad. But
Was
it's
his poem?
I don't think it was one of his poems. I think it was. I think what it was a poem that a friend of his wrote.
Okay.
And it was about taking care of his mother when his mother was sick and dying. Oh. And it's a poem about like basically like she's in her sick bed and like washing her because she can't get up to like bathe herself.
Yeah.
And he like I remember he read the poem in front of the class and started tearing up because it's like very very moving.
Yeah.
I can't find that poem anywhere, and I wish I could because it was just like hearing him read that in the room was so touching and so moving, and like to see him, like it's an emotion I think everybody can identify with, even if you've never been in the situation.
Yeah.
But to see somebody else project it and to feel it yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was this really, really
You know what?
heavy thing.
You know what really gets to my heart every time is the one that goes, "There once was a man from Nantucket with a cock so long he could suck it." He said with a grin,
as he
wiping
wiped out.
cum from his chin, "If my ear were a cunt, I could fuck it."
Right.
Thank you. All right, knocking that wall down.
Someone had to lighten the mood.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like,
I do want to say, I know I don't want to get like somber on it again either, but like I do want to say,
damn it.
there's a lot of ways to
I
talk
only know
about.
so many limericks.
There's a lot of ways to talk about what poetry is.
Yeah.
And it's you know, oh God, what was I gonna say? There's a lot of ways to describe what poetry is, but I think one of them is that thing of like experiencing something kind of hard to describe, and
Sure.
watching someone else do that, it's almost like an envious thing.
Yeah,
I feel like watching someone have that experience with a poem, I feel envy for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've gone into something.
Consistently, my favorite poems are the ones that actually move me to tears, which is why I'm not going to read any of them because I'll cry like a bitch on this podcast.
Yeah,
you know,
I
what
wish
mean?
you would.
You wish I would read a
you
poem
big
that
pussy.
moves me to tears?
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like the poems that are my favorite are consistently the ones that can make me cry or elicit some emotional response.
Yeah.
I think
I actually, there's one that I remember that does the same thing for me. It starts, there's a place in France where the naked ladies dance.
Okay.
There's a hole in the wall.
Where the men can see it
Man
all.
can see it all.
Wow. Moving. Touching.
I remember one of my favorite descriptions of poetry, and it's very tongue in cheek, and I forget who said it, but it goes that science is the art of describing something conveying something nobody knows in a way that everybody understands.
Yeah.
And poetry is a way of conveying something everyone knows in a way that no one understands.
Yes. That's actually
interesting.
fair.
It's starting to get at it starts to get at it, but that's the thing is like it's always just starting to get at what the real nature of that is.
Right.
I feel like always things like this are just outside description.
Yeah. Yep. That's why it's art.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, if you guys are feeling froggy, please don't look at anything that any of us have published. Please don't.
Oh God, I hope.
Don't judge my stupid poetry that's still online for everyone to see.
So you know how Joe Pera says that he hopes when he dies he's just forgotten.
Forgotten, yeah.
Yeah. I kind of get that.
I super get that, yeah.
I
super
don't
get
necessarily want all of the things that are recorded about me to stick around after
Yeah.
me. I'm okay with just going in the pile.
that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Anyway.
That's real lighthearted.
Ooh, that was good.
Yeah.
It's punchy.
Maybe poetry is a topic we should explore.
We
at some point.
we haven't done that yet.
We haven't done
Well, that would be a
poetry.
fun one.
All right,
Maybe.
someone's gonna do it, but within the next 2 episodes, because if it's not you, it's me.
Okay.
It's not going to be me.
It'll be me.
I'll tell you what.
I
If
have
you
a few
do,
ideas.
if you have poetry as your topic, I will create a list of my favorite poems.
I absolutely will do that.
I will create
yeah,
a list
same.
of my favorite poems, and I'll bring them and I will read them on the show.
All right, this is a commitment.
Okay. If-
My episode is poetry.
Okay.
Bring your favorites.
All right.
so that's 2 episodes from now.
One
Yeah.
of my favorites is unreasonably long, but I will
It's
read
okay. It doesn't matter.
excerpts.
Well, we have plenty of time. Yeah. No.
Right.
I have again. I'm gonna cry like a bitch because all
good.
my favorite poems make me cry.
I don't know if I'll cry. I wonder if I will.
I'll cry. I'll definitely cry because there's several poems that really
Get
to me. So.
This is interesting to me. All of a sudden, I'm like, yes.
all right.
Yeah.
If
There's
you
a
do,
live wire around
if you
here.
do poetry, I'll bring like my 5 favorite
I will.
poems and we'll do it.
I
I'll see if,
absolutely
and I'll see
will.
if I can dig up Corey's poem because I
Before
love
we
it.
do the rest, I got to.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, rock
up.
your piss.
Yes.
Yeah, just so you're aware, you know,
The thing is,
I'm a big baby. I'm like super
okay.
emotional, so I'll cry if we do.
if you're actually willing to do this,
I
that's
will.
great.
I will. Yeah.
There's
I
one
will.
thing we haven't. I mean, you know, we get emotional every now and then on this show.
Yeah. No, I mean,
know.
like I'll actually cry like a
Could be
baby
like a
if I
blubbering
read
baby.
some of those. There's a couple that are like
Yeah.
that really get to me.
If you're willing to do it, I'm
I
willing to. I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it might be actually hard because one of those things about poetry is you remember phrases, images, feelings.
Yeah.
Titles can be kind of elusive, can't they?
Yeah. Right.
Like finding the one that you're thinking of can actually be kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have to, and if I can't find it, I'll ask
Yeah.
Corey if she's got it. If I can find that poem, I would really like to
Mm-hmm.
read it again. And Corey wrote lots of great poetry. Like I said, one of our more talented friends, probably the most talented
Yeah.
of all our friends, actively pursuing her doctorate in creative writing.
Yeah,
and
without a doubt.
Published several times over.
Everything she writes is incredible.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna be really pissed if I can't find it because she signed the poem for me. I asked her if she would do it because I had a feeling she was gonna be famous one day, and I still do.
Can I actually read you a few lines from a poem that I really enjoy?
Yeah.
Okay. The first, I'll just start in the middle of it. Who run the world?
Girls.
Who run the world? Girls. Who run the world? Girls.
Oh shit!
Who run the world?
The
Who run the world?
Jews.
Jeez. No.
That's horrible.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
Hey, that's actually a great poem.
Yeah, no joke.
That might-
Salt and pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine.
Hanging pictures on my wall every Saturday. Rap attack,
Mr. Magic Molly Mall.
That song is everything that hip hop is about in one song.
Yeah.
That is actually probably the best hip hop song ever.
Why
written.
isn't Juicy our country's national anthem?
It should be. What a great song. Like
It should be.
universally a
That-
great song.
That is the American dream.
There were two songs. I
in a
remember
song.
I was talking with my mom one time because she's not, like most I think middle-aged white people, they're not really big hip hop fans because she didn't grow up with it, right? So you don't understand.
It was literally it was invented in her lifetime.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there was two things I tried to explain because
It's like how I feel about dubstep.
yeah. I think she was like a lot of like middle-aged white folks. She just didn't get it, and she's like, I think she hears like the poppy shit that's on the radio and thinks that that's what it's all about. And the two songs that I showed her were Wu-Tang Clan's "Cream." I showed her the second verse, and then I showed her Biggie's "Juicy," and I'm like, okay, read that. And "Dear Mama" was the other one. Tupac did "Dear Mama."
Yeah.
So read those.
But Juicy has to be listened to. I mean, of course it's great poetry, but you had that. I mean, like, it's
Everything about it.
It's
is-
so like holistically such a great composition.
and it was done, as I understand it, basically off the cuff.
Yeah.
Like Puffy gave him the beat and said, "Here, come up with something for this." And Biggie spent the time in the studio that Puffy gave him for like 8 hours, up all night partying and like smoking weed with a bunch of people in the studio.
Right.
And then Puffy came in to lay the track down, and Biggie just nailed it.
I
Just
believe it.
Fucking freestyled half of it. And it's so good, dude. It's so fucking good.
Yeah,
He killed it.
There's nothing better. I mean, it's
It is. It's
Yes.
real. It's everything. It's everything that the dream is about, right? That one, and then listen to Tupac's "Dear Mama," which he wrote for his mom after he found out that she had breast cancer.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a tearjerker.
It is a tearjerker, and like cool in the way that he doesn't apologize. Like he acknowledges that everybody that his mom made mistakes when they were younger, but he doesn't care because he still loves. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
super good.
I feel like that's the thing a lot of people can understand.
Yeah, like being able to forgive your parents is, I think, one of the most important parts about growing up.
To forgive anyone, but especially your parents, because your parents are your first safe harbor.
Yeah.
And if they violate that in any way, it stays with you for a long time. It's like this initial transgression that comes to shape how you see the entire world.
Yeah.
So if you don't forgive that thing, you're always in a sea of
bitterness.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
it's fundamental to your development. This is very serious.
Yeah, right. Sorry, we got very, very serious really quick.
So anyway,
We'll talk about that on the poetry podcast when we do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd also like to nominate Tom Green's seminal rap song about his butt.
The bum,
being
my bum is on the cheese.
Various things.
My bum is on the
Yes.
cheese.
His
and
butt
if I'm lucky,
was on various things, wasn't it?
I'll get a disease.
I remember that his butt was on the Swedish.
Swedish. My bum is on the man. My bum is on the man.
I can have fun with my,
My
bum on a man.
Hey man, listen. If you don't know, Tom Green was really fucking funny in the '90s when you were a stupid kid and you didn't know any better. Tom Green was hilarious.
The 90s are coming back. I really do believe that we're in the midst of a new era of absurdism.
Yeah, I think Eminem said it best when he said, "Sometimes I want to just get on TV and let loose, but can't. But it's cool for Tom Green to hump a dead moose."
Eminem, you know nothing of. Well, no, he knew quite a bit about that. Doesn't matter.
Anyway,
Yeah. So, Chris,
Getting back to seriousness, let me take control here.
Yeah.
Have we any recommendations for this podcast?
we have.
You know what? I started with you first and you deferred, so I'm going to start with Ben this time.
sure.
Okay. Let me double check what I wrote down. Oh yeah, I remember what I wrote down because I'm looking at it right now. I've already recommended this to you guys, but I'm also recommending this again because, as far as I know, you guys haven't seen it yet, and also for anyone else who hasn't seen it, Knives Out
Yes.
is really good.
I've heard this was good.
It's hilarious. I was grinning the entire time. It's a very smart. It's a very, very smart movie. Not just in terms of its comedy and its writing, but it spins a really good mystery story. And and it'll reward you for paying attention to all the clues. And when when the big reveal comes, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I saw that."
So, would you say that it sounds like you're saying if you're paying attention, you can solve this one
You can,
before the big reveal.
yeah,
You can know.
Well, I don't want to spoil too much, but
Okay.
the big finale
Yeah.
is a pretty complex series of events.
Sure. It's kind
and-
of like Clue, where like there's all these things, the very complicated scenarios at the end. That
Yeah.
Okay.
And the film invites you to form the suspicions that would probably very naturally be formed by a viewer.
Okay.
It doesn't smack you in the face with it doesn't bring shit up out of nowhere.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's a very the film really does a good job of pacing and guiding you through its plot.
Okay.
Which is what I want of any good mystery movie.
Sure.
You know.
I hate a mystery movie where all of a sudden there's some gigantic twist that no one could have seen coming, and
Sure.
it's like, well,
Right.
now I feel like a right dickhead because
Right.
you led me to believe this thing all this time.
No, it's definitely not like that. There are a lot of really great underlying themes too of like entitlement, and especially white entitlement.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bougie people in
White
a rich
titlement.
mansion.
Yeah.
Right?
And one of the main characters, the one who the story a lot of the story follows fairly closely is a Puerto Rican woman.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of very big contrast between her character and the people surrounding her. These
Sure.
like you said, bougie kind
Stuffy
of
white people.
white people.
Played, of course, by Danny DeVito.
Everyone does a really great job in it. Daniel Craig,
It looks like he had a lot of fun with that role, right?
he very clearly loved doing this.
Yeah. Are they not making a sequel? I think they're making a sequel.
What, to Knives Out?
Yeah. I think I read something like that very recently.
I hope not,
sequel
because
in the works.
I hope not, because the ending is perfect.
Yes, but that's not going to stop them. People liked it.
Right. Yeah, Daniel Craig, you learn very early on, is a private investigator who has been hired to take on this case by
Oh, that sounds perfect
by
for
an
him.
unknown party.
That sounds
Well,
perfect for James Bond.
Well, what's even better is he's like what's his name? Benoit Blanc. He's like a Louisiana,
Benoit.
like a Louisiana, post-bellum Southern gentleman, and he talks with that accent through the entire movie. And he's clearly having a fucking blast
hell yeah.
doing it.
Constantly speaking into a mint julep.
Have you ever had a mint julep?
Fucking no, and I want one.
Have a mint julep. They're really fucking good.
Yeah, but
Early wreck.
the whole movie, with obviously one or two exceptions, because any good murder mystery should have some pretty heavy moments. The entire movie, for the most part, is hysterical, really funny.
Yeah.
Chris Evans' character is really good.
Jamie Lee Curtis in that one.
Jamie Lee Curtis is really funny.
Who else? Lots of names. I can't think of them, but lots of big names in that movie.
Yeah, no, the whole experience is great. I never found myself bored or feeling like the movie was going too slowly.
Yeah.
there's always some hitch or another, or some twist or another to keep you interested. And
I feel like I don't see enough movies.
the writing is just really good.
So
it's a very well written movie.
You didn't mention it yet, I don't think, but that's a Rian Johnson movie, right?
Yes,
Same dude that wrote the Last Jedi, right?
Yeah. Wasn't that Force Awakens, or was it Last Jedi?
No, yeah, it was The Last Jedi. Rian Johnson wrote the second of those movies, the second of the last trilogy here.
Yeah.
And was, of course, famously accused by the internet of destroying Star Wars for all time.
Sure.
As everybody is if they make anything Star Wars related.
Right. As I've said before, nobody hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans.
Right. But he's also like a competent writer and director, as I understand.
for
He's
sure.
got like a
For sure.
like that. I can't remember what else he did, but I mean, he didn't arrive with no pedigree.
Right.
You know. So it's cool to see after all of that him do something like this, which doesn't exist in a universe that already existed.
Yeah.
Doesn't have all those expectations on it, and just kind of kills it.
Yeah, and this is one of those movies too that with any kind of directorial vision that strayed too comedic or too dramatic,
Yeah.
the thing would have fallen flat.
Okay.
Fell flat.
Had faldened.
It would have fallen.
It would have did
flat.
faldened.
It would have gone done fallen and flatted.
Flatenoid, please.
Flatnoid. Excuse me.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just that perfect in the same way that something like The Big Lebowski straddles that line between comedy and a little bit of drama here and there.
Yeah.
You've got people who at least one or two are out for blood, and dude's just like, come on, man.
Yeah, right.
There's something really fun about that, of like not knowing how to feel about a movie until it gives you an excuse to laugh, or
Sure.
something like that sort of like tension of like, how am I
Sure.
supposed to interpret this?
And really, I think if you've seen the trailers for Knives Out, I think it conveys the attitude of the movie really well. Mm-hmm. I think if you've seen the trailers, you will know what that balance is going into it, and you'll feel comfortable like chuckling and laughing right out of the gate. Very fun movie, very heartfelt, and it's very clear everyone had a lot of fun doing it, which is a great thing to see in a movie.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. Dave, have you any recommendations?
I do.
Hit me.
I want to talk about, if as much as I can without ruining anything, I want to talk about the premiere of The New Pope.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I got 6 out of 8 episodes into The Young Pope and never finished it.
I think it's a thing most people have not or will not watch.
I only ever saw the first episode over here.
But did we watch the whole first episode?
I believe so, yeah.
The Young Pope is like a new kind of television.
It's almost like a genre unto itself.
very distinct, yeah.
I believe that the director's name is Paolo Sorrentino.
Sounds right.
I don't know the rest of his work.
Yeah.
That sounds like someone who I would expect to direct a show about a pope.
About the Vatican. Yeah, I don't know. It's like a distinctly like European feeling show, right?
Yeah.
What have we forgotten?
But
Oh my God.
But with less sex.
You'd be surprised.
Oh, okay.
So one of the interesting things about The Young Pope is that it does this. So the first season is called The Young Pope, obviously.
Sure.
The new season is called The New Pope, because they're attempting to take like the same show but essentially build a new storyline into it. The Young Pope is a story. Gosh, how do you? So the whole show does this great thing of juxtaposing like the grandeur and beauty and like solemnity of the environment of the Vatican against the depravity and secrets and sins of its inhabitants.
Yeah, right.
So, like all the time, you're getting like this huge, beautiful palatial architecture and stuff, and then there's like
The guy with the red Prada shoes.
yeah. Well, like a guy with a bunch of bottles of liquor under his bed.
Yeah, right.
That he doesn't want to confess to.
Right.
And that of course, like he's found out by. That's the other thing is the structure
The
of the Vatican.
secrecy.
Someone with a bunch of National Geographic magazines his dad gave him.
Yeah. Circled with the best boobs.
Nice.
Best boobs of the Congo.
Son, I know that you're going to have a hard time in the Vatican. being so far away from all of these Nat Geo magazines. I'm going to be mailing you a few each month. Just,
Along with the Jay-Z Betty catalog.
just to remind
And
you
some
of the
lotion
homestead.
and a condom.
Dad, I'm 47.
Yes, you're 47, but you're gonna miss Nebraska. You're always gonna be my weird boy. Anyway, yeah. So the show also depicts like this sort of in sort of vague terms, I guess, but like there's players in the Vatican, right? So there's the people that do the dirty
Player
work.
haters.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
there really are too. But there's the people that make things work, make things happen, facilitate things, know everyone's secrets,
The
pull
maintenance
strings.
guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Keep going.
So yeah, there's the guys that do the work like that, and then there's the people that get to sit above all that and look pretty and be proper and get to sit above all of that sea of scum that basically keeps
Yeah.
the thing moving. I don't want to say that much about the new season.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to dance around it.
That's okay.
But basically, okay, so I don't. This isn't a spoiler. You know that the new season is called The New Pope.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So there's a new pope coming.
There's going to be a new pope coming, and you've probably seen the promotional materials that suggest that that is John Malkovich.
Yes.
If that's the case, we don't know yet because for the first episode, he does not appear at all. But I will tell you, a new pope is selected.
Oh.
I'm telling you this to sort of whet your appetite a bit.
Okay.
Because if
I
not
have to
him,
finish
who?
season 1. I remember the kangaroo.
Oh yeah,
I'm not joking. I remember the kangaroo.
Yeah, right.
Sounds fucking wild.
It is wild.
The show, the first season is incredible. It features all these awesome scenes of like Jude Law, like
great set pieces.
beautiful
Oh
set
my
pieces,
God.
amazing
I bet.
camera
Yeah.
work, really dramatic, and the soundtrack.
It's perfect.
The soundtrack
perfect.
is so fucking good.
If you're gonna watch a scene to tease you about how good it is, the scene where Jude Law basically, as the Pope for the first time,
Yeah.
speaks to an audience for the first time.
yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, in the darkness, he refuses to reveal himself to the people.
Yeah.
he refuses to be seen.
And when someone tries to shine a light on him, he gets fucking
Yeah.
furious.
Yeah, he gives the speech.
You want
about,
to see me seek God first?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What have we forgotten? He gives this speech. What have we
We
forgotten?
have forgotten
God. Yeah, it's very like super.
We
like,
have forgotten the Alamo.
We have
shit.
forgotten.
9/11.
We have forgotten the 21st night of September.
What have we, forgotten?
We have forgotten to wash our hands before returning to work.
That's good. One last teaser type thing. I know I've been talking about this forever. It feels like.
No, you're good.
One last teaser type thing. I want to tell you how the season begins because I think it says a lot about the character of the show, and it says a lot about like the aesthetic and the sort of the attitude. So, they're looking for a new pope. They're going to go to conclave. A whole thing is going to happen, right? And there's a scene where all of these, it's unconnected to this, but it's this dramatic time period for the Vatican. And there's a whole bunch of nuns that, are occupying, I guess, I guess they're nuns, but they're like, women of the cloth occupying their like communal chambers, right? Where there's like 20
Sounds
beds.
hot.
It's like 20 beds in one room. It's like barracks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're told, go to bed. It's bedtime. And they all lay down and they go to sleep. And then we cut to the next morning and they all get up and they put on lipstick and they're smoking cigarettes on their beds. They're getting either sort of waking up for the day. And something about this doesn't feel right, Like they're all like, it's like it's a little bit much. And then the next shot is this big neon cross. This big fat like lit up neon cross. It's like strobing colors, right? And we get this EDM beat comes in, right? This big fucking fat neon cross.
Now that's the Italy I know.
But it's to me, it says so much about like the sexiness of like what religion represents, right?
Yeah.
Or what Catholicism represents. It's like this big fat sexy forgiveness. I don't know how to put it. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I think I get it.
I do, but big fat sexy forgiveness is also a phrase that has never been uttered before.
I know I'm talking crazy right now, but it's like it's license.
Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. And this is what I mean when I say Paolo Sorrentino does a really great job of like portraying all this shit.
Yeah.
So there's this big fat neon crucifix, and all these nuns are up against it, just kind of like moving slowly. And there's this EDM beat, and then they're all just kind of slow dancing and like running their arms on the crucifix and on each other. And it's just this like hyper sexual moment.
Yeah.
And then
Man, that
boom,
sounds awesome.
title scene or title of the show. So what I'm saying, watch the new Pope. I don't know how to describe the show. It's just a really cool piece of art.
It's very odd. It's very really jarring the first time you watch the show because
It is.
It's so risque.
It is. It's like
very,
in some
very
ways it's
risque.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's by design.
Yeah.
It works. It works because you know it's by design.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does make you feel at least the first season.
Yeah.
At certain points, very uncomfortable.
It's there's stuff that you won't know how to feel about.
Yeah.
Very often. Maybe at least once an episode. So watch the new Pope. That's it.
I know how I feel about sexy naked nuns.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
There's something about it. I don't know what it is. It's just like they're in the halls of the Vatican, and
Yeah.
there's this blaring light, and like
Oh, so it's like a symbolic thing.
Yeah.
See, because the way you said it made me think like they were going out on the town, like
No.
they were taking a break, and
it's all taking place in what looks like a chapel type room. With like painting, like frescoes up on the wall of like, depicting like
Gotcha.
religious events and things like that, and they're all just bathed in this hot neon light.
yeah.
I don't know. I love what this show does. I don't know how to talk about it, but I love what it does. Big sexy
Big
neon
sexy
freak-
nuns.
Big sexy
Big
forgiveness.
nuns. All right.
Sorry, Chris. What do you want to recommend?
I'm going to I have one as an aside and then one real recommendation. The aside is to say that are we on the 5th? Oh my God. The 5th, is it the 5th season of Better Call Saul? Is about to come out next
Episode
month.
3 ended with episode called Lantern.
Yes.
So we are on season 5.
Yeah. Okay. So
I gotta.
well, no, because the season we're on season 5 because season
that's what
3
I'm saying.
ended with the Lantern.
That's what I just said.
Season 4 ended with the Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
Do you remember?
right.
So we're on
Saul
season
Goodman.
5. Saul Goodman. Yeah,
Saul
that's it.
Goodman.
So if you're a Breaking Bad fan at all, or really even if you're not a Breaking Bad fan, you should watch Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Get caught up for season 5, which I suspect, I could be wrong, but I suspect will probably be the last season of this show because they've hit the point where they need to hit. Without revealing too much about the show, at the end of last season, we have officially seen the rise of Saul Goodman.
We are on the other side of something
Right.
that this show is about.
Yes, which is how a man basically falls
Yeah.
into depravity.
Right. Yeah. Like basically if there's a moment in Breaking Bad where Walter White is officially Walter White.
Heisenberg. Yeah.
Yeah, Heisenberg. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Then we've basically crossed that point.
We've
in
hit
the
that
show.
point in Better Call Saul. Yeah.
Okay.
But Saul Goodman is no longer Jimmy McGill. He is Saul Goodman.
Yeah.
So it's worth getting caught up for that point because there is some very serious.
I'm gonna have to find a way to watch.
You should come over and watch it with me sometime. It's really good and worth the watch. Michael McKean, tremendously underappreciated as Jimmy McGill's brother.
Yeah.
Really great acting. So get caught up for Better Call Saul. It's worth it. I suspect this will be the last season. I could be wrong.
Do you think so?
I think so. I think they're at 5 or like 5.5. Maybe they'll split it like 2 parts of season 5 like they did with Breaking Bad.
I don't know. I feel like they'll do more. And I only say that because there's still a lot of ground to cover.
There is a lot of ground to cover. I will say that Better Call Saul is as good as Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
It's worth noting. You stay with it. It's as good as Breaking Bad, which is high praise.
Yeah, that's a big compliment.
praise.
Watch it. It's worth a watch. It's worth getting caught up for the new season. And you have a month and a half to do it.
Yeah.
The real recommendation I want to make, and I'm going to try and keep this brief, is to recommend something we were talking about before we started recording.
Yeah.
Which is a movie called American History X. If you haven't watched it before, you should watch it because it's necessary human viewing. I would put that right up there with the Godfather and A Clockwork Orange and Casablanca and all that stuff.
It also has Avery Brooks.
It does have
Benjamin motherfucking Sisko. He was the teacher.
Right. Right.
Avery Brooks.
Yeah.
It took me a hot second, but you're right. That's him.
American History X. So if you've never watched American History X, which I'm judging you a little for having not seen it if you haven't, it's basically about a guy who is a neo-Nazi who ends up going to jail for I think it was manslaughter is what he
Did he go to
eventually
jail
got.
for the horrific crime I'm thinking of?
Yeah,
It's been so long
that
since
scene.
so it's like was basically pled down from murder to manslaughter because of his little brother's testimony.
Yeah.
So it's basically about the redemption of a neo-Nazi.
Yeah.
It played, as you brought up earlier, unapologetically by Edward Norton.
You have to give him a lot of props for playing a
to give him a
character
lot of
so
props.
despicable.
Terrifying.
He is
in this
terrifying,
role.
and also very sad. He does a good job of
simultaneously scary and pitiful.
pitiful, and the entire movie is basically about Derek Vignon's redemption, how he got to that, at points how he got to that.
Yeah.
To become that person and how he was redeemed to be that person. So if you've never seen the movie before, it's basically, it starts with Derek's little brother, Edward Norton's character's little brother, in history class, following along the same neo-Nazi path that his older brother has started to follow.
Yeah,
around the time that his older brother is
He's
getting
like
out of
giving
jail.
a presentation, isn't he? Or what is he
He's
doing?
giving a presentation on Mein Kampf. He's basically being chastised by the principal for writing a glowing review of Mein Kampf.
Which I never understood why. Why would what's the problem with that?
Right.
Oops.
But basically, the
That's not funny. That's just upsetting.
right. The principal assigns his little brother an assignment about basically talking about how his brother ended up where he was and why he's in jail. And at the same time, this is juxtaposed with Edward Norton's character getting out of prison and basically having been completely reformed through his experiences in jail and having a lot of time to think about how he became who he was and why. And the story is basically explained through Derek's eyes, trying to convince his little brother to not follow the same path that he follows. And it's told in a series of flashbacks and, present day stuff with Derek out of jail. It's played very, very unapologetically by Edward Norton. And it's really weird to say this in a role where he plays a neo-Nazi. It's really understated in a lot of ways. He plays, it's very, very sympathetic almost in a way, the way he portrays it.
I've been thinking about how to describe this. And I feel like the right way to say it is that the movie does not excuse his character, but it is deeply interested in how someone goes from A to B
person.
as a human interest exercise in how people are vulnerable to falling prey to these very radical ways of living.
Right.
Pitiful. You described it really correctly.
Yeah.
He's a pitiful character. You want to pity him.
You don't. He's not excused.
No, he's not
But he is
excused.
explained.
He's explained. Yeah,
Right.
You understand it quite a bit through the role. If you're looking for a happy movie to watch, this is not a happy movie.
Good date night movie, maybe Valentine's.
Yeah, I will tell you, my wife had never seen it before. We watched it a couple years ago, and it's one of those movies where at the end of it, my wife looked at me and said, "Why did you have me watch that?" Because I argue because it's necessary. I think no one can debate that it is a great movie, and it's worth a watch.
Well, because obviously your wife thinks racism is just fine. It needs to be shown that the error of
wife
ways.
is-
She said that to me before, and I thought that was really weird.
You get her drunk at a party, all she does is ramble on about Israel. She just never stops.
And so you have to tell
so
her.
The Triumph of the Will is the best book I read in the last 5 years.
So you have to tell her to curb that chatter. Because
because who run the world? Jews.
okay.
Weirdly enough, I started reading because I was bored one night and just started looking up random shit. I read a little bit about the Protocols of the Elders of Zion.
Shut up.
Did you really?
And it turns out, most scholars believe that where it comes from was when the threat of the communist takeover of Russia was looming. The czars were fearing for their power, and so they had their secret police
Propagandist materials generated.
basically write up a whole tract against the Jews and basically say, you know what the Jews don't want you to do? Support your czar.
Right.
It was a last-ditch effort that obviously didn't work.
Yeah, sure.
Like things like this, and obviously most of the time it's been the Jews, I feel like, but something like this is done to someone all the time.
Yeah, scapegoating.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the time it's the Jews.
Who've objectively done nothing wrong.
Right.
Who've done nothing wrong.
Well,
What about killing our Savior, Jesus Christ?
we could
Who was
get
also Jewish.
we could get into Palestine if you want, but we won't touch
Well,
that.
yeah, I'm going to leave this whole chapter on the West Bank settlements alone and just be like, no, it's fine.
But no, I don't know a good way to describe. If you type in, if you've never seen this movie and you want to get a good idea of what it's about, go on YouTube and type in American History X dinner scene or American History X news report. It'll give you a really good idea of how Edward Norton played this character and what he did to try and make the character not sympathetic, but like you said, worthy of pity. And how
Make him a human being.
to make him a human being. It's worth
Monsters aren't useful.
correct.
Human beings are
Correct.
in stories like this.
So it's worth watching one of those scenes, and you'll get a very clear idea of whether or not you want to watch it. I will say that Edward Norton gives one of the best acting performances I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
So if you haven't, or even if you have, I would recommend rewatching or watching for the first time American History X. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen, and I consider myself a fucking movie snob. So you should take my advice, people.
It's very, very good. It's been years since I've seen it, but obviously there are scenes and there are lines in particular that really stick out in my head.
Right. It's a great film. It's a really great, and I think I said it earlier to you. It's something that I think we should show to kids in social studies class, especially in the modern age. It's worth a watch.
It seems increasingly relevant now.
Very important.
There was
Which
a time
is sad as fuck.
when the movie came out in like the mid or late 90s.
Yeah.
Or whatever
Late
it was.
90s, I think.
Maybe early
98.
2000s. Whenever it came out around that time, it seemed like, I know it did. I remember, even as a young person, I remember it seemed like the idea of Nazis,
It's insane, yeah.
They're so gone, and maybe there's still some guys in white tank tops that are floating around trying to get the thing going, but they'll never get it going.
Cut to
again.
2016 when there's actually people
There's
chanting not fire and blood, blood and soil.
Fire and blood is something different. That's a
right.
different bunch
That's
of
a different-
fanatics.
Yeah, right. There's people chanting blood and soil in the
Right.
streets of America.
Yeah, there's something really telling about, like, you know, growing up and learning about like the Ku Klux Klan and social studies.
Yeah.
you know,
You thought they were gone or going.
or at least just, you know, a bunch of
A piece of history, like a footnote.
Yeah.
or even just, you know, as they, you know, existed
Like 200
for
years
a
ago.
long time in the modern age. Just a bunch of rednecks that got together and shouted about black people and then went home.
Which is still kind of the truth, I guess, right?
Right, but then like 2016 rolls around and you've got them endorsing Donald Trump.
Yeah,
right.
And it's
Like, how the hell? Well, maybe the worst time was back then, because I mean, there was a time when David Duke was like considered a legitimate presidential candidate.
right.
You know, maybe things are better, but it just feels like we never kick this awful fucking habit we have of
This
flirting with disaster.
stain on American culture. Yeah,
We never get rid of it.
the last remnants of slavery.
Yeah.
It's really awful.
We probably never will get rid of it.
I don't think we will. I really don't think we will.
Well,
it
I
might
mean,
take a very long time.
As long as people are stupid, I don't think we will. As long as people are, you know, willing to fall prey to things like that.
people are always going to be stupid. People have always been stupid, but progress gets made one way or the other.
Sure.
It's just
That's true.
It never takes it never goes as quickly as we want it to or as it should go.
I guess you're right. The needle moves.
We talked about it on
does.
the podcast
It really
a couple
does.
weeks ago. Think about there has been progress made since the 1960s. In the last 50 years, there's been progress made.
Sometimes it can be hard to see when
very slow, but
and I know it's there are people too that argue that it's a figurehead move, and it's they make fun of people like oh, hey, we solved racism, but it's not for nothing that we elected a black president.
No,
it's not for nothing.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
That's a clear
our last black president.
Our last black president, right?
Our second black president.
Right.
Anyway, have we learned anything on this first episode?
Yeah.
Episode 81.
Oh yeah. God,
Oh,
we
yeah.
went 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Learned a few things. I learned that Rolling Rock is making an awfully bold assumption and thinking that I have good taste.
True story. I wrote here, season 4, we got lots of poops lined up.
We do. So many poops.
So many poops.
I got lots planned. I
Lots
can't
of
wait to
poops.
share
Good.
with you all.
Listen, you got to have one Hall of Fame fart this season.
It's not going to happen.
The pressure's on, dude.
No.
Why would I do that? Why would I do that?
I learned we owe John McCain an apology, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I learned that strangers are just fine. It's your uncle you got to watch.
It's true.
I wrote stuffing a steel toe up Betty White's sniz.
I have that here. Kicking Betty White in the cooter.
I don't know how that
The
happened.
new simulation game from Maxis.
I also wrote here.
Sim sniz.
Sniz.
I don't know.
I wrote here. I feel like I blew my load with apartheid.
Yup.
Quote Benjamin Reese 2020.
That's so funny. Oh my God.
I wrote that lies are important, so you better make them awesome ones.
Hell yeah. Oh, me too?
Yeah.
Okay. Hashtag me
Hashtag me
too.
too.
I wrote, who doesn't want to be a rich mob boss sitting in a restaurant eating veal?
Fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all we want. Is to
Lamos.
sample the finer things. I wrote
Like veal and murder.
Yeah, I want to call in my Irish henchman who's been making a name for himself in the company and be like, "What's your name, son?"
Yeah, right.
I wrote Kronos devours his own man gravy.
It's still socially acceptable to eat your own cum. I wrote that. Yeah.
Thank God.
Same thing. Thank God. Who said it wasn't?
Thank God. I got Who Run the World?
Jews.
Jews.
I wrote that too.
Jews.
Yeah, it's the last thing I learned.
Sorry.
The
I have one
Jews
more.
run the world. Oh, did you?
I have one more. I wrote Mein Kampf, more like Nine Kampf.
Yada da da.
Just say no to Nazis, kids, because they're back.
More like mine comfy chair.
And a nice cold brow that isn't Nazi.
Seriously though, there's Nazis marching in the streets.
Cold brow and a colder Frau. This is a German
My
way.
wife, take her, please.
Please take my wife. Stupid.
She does not stoop me in the way that I want. Which is
Look
anyway.
at my schwanz. Gaze upon my schwanz.
Observe mine ballen. They are blue. They are blue, the Adriatic.
Are these Nazi blue balls or just German blue balls? I can't tell.
German.
Okay. German blue balls. All right. Well,
We will be back next week or the week after, possibly.
I'm exhausting every German stereotype I know.
with Ben's topic.
Yes. I don't know what it is yet, but I have a few ideas, and I can at least reasonably assure you that it's probably going to be good.
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 You know what? I
Great.
got to tell you, you're wearing that Triple Atomic Wing Survivor shirt, and
Yeah.
I want to go get more of those wings.
I don't.
I'll do it with you.
Threw up last time I tried.
You did. I remember that.
That's all right.
That's worth it. I want to go get more. I think we should go get more. I want to go get more Atomic
you
Wings.
named the day, dude.
I will never say no to more hot wings, but I think once with the triple atomic
Is enough.
is
Yeah.
enough for me.
You know what? I have that. I have 2 of those shirts already, so I think I'm good with getting more shirts.
I have one and I've never worn it. I have no idea
wear
where it went.
You gotta wear it. You gotta rock
Yeah.
that shirt loud and proud.
Yeah, you got to get your name immortalized again. The immortal Chris Brad.
Chris Brad, the immortal
Brad.
Chris Brad, because nobody can spell my fucking name right.
That's insane.
Chris
It's one of the
Brody.
easiest names.
It's 5 letters and it's spelled exactly the way it sounds.
There was a show about a bunch of them.
Right. Is this Mr. Brady? No, it's not. Fuck up. Click.
All right, let's end this episode.
Yes, we'll be back next time with Ben's topic. This has been season 4 of the Dude Cast.
Kicking it off.
Kicking it off.
For episode 1.
Thank you all so much for listening.
We love you.
We love you.
We like you at least.
Go out and punch a Nazi or two for me.
Yeah, fucking hit a Nazi, would you?
Yeah, live out a real life Wolfenstein.
It says
Right.
American is apple pie.
Hashtag
Anyone who-
Antifa.
anyone who tells you otherwise is trying to cow you into submission.
That's right. Fucking swing on them. Just start hitting people in public.
If you see someone wearing a Pepe the Frog pin, shoot him in the face.
Just on principle.
Death to Nazis.
Doesn't even matter if they're alt-right or not. That meme can fucking go away.
Buy a rifle. Just
Anyway, we should probably stop. Good.
get a gun.
Let's end the show. We'll see
The
you
war
next
is
time.
coming. Prepare.
Bye.
Stock up.